Stupid people should wear signs, neon bright, so we can find a way to dodge their tangled mess, avoid their chaos more, say less.
Bro, that's not a reason to be arresting somebody, man. Fucking hell, man. That's not a reason for y'all to have the woman on handcuffs, man. For feeding birds. For feeding the pigeons.
I mean, part of it is being like a white woman that I'm privileged and I have a lot of privilege. So I feel like white tears are not always something that's helpful or necessary.
Seattle is a welcoming city. We already have laws in place that forbid our local police from aiding ICE in most instances. The police will adhere to these laws. That's an important step. But it's also true that we have limited authority with regard to the actions of federal agencies.
I'm Rochelle Bilal, sheriff for the city and county of Philadelphia. And I say her name, Renee Good. Renee Good. Renee Good. This should not have happened, but we're here today. Let know that law enforcement professionals, real ones, not the fake made-up ICE, probably Trump's new army to attack citizens of the United States.
This family should not wait for justice. And remember, we fought for Jamar Clark. We occupied a precinct for Jamar Clark. We did not get justice for Jamar Clark. But when the city burned, after George Floyd, all of a sudden there were some charges. So for those who are on the media talking about, don't burn it down, don't set it on fire, let me tell you this, we need justice and we need it now. Yeah. Because what happens after that is on your hands. All power to the people. Yeah.
We remember the dawn of a rainbow dream, Mandela's smile and a steady stream of hope and growth, and a hand held tight, chasing the shadows into the light. But the cupboard got bare and the locks got broke. The new South Africa became a joke, while the looters danced and the coffers drained, and a sleepy voice was all that remained. Oh, let's make new friends, let's turn the page, step out of the dark and off of the stage. We don't want the gloom or the backroom deal. We want a future that's bright and real. Goodbye to the shadows, hello to the sun. Let's find a party where everyone's one. From Pretoria's halls to the dusty street, the patronage puppies are tasting the sweet. While the silver is gone and the lights go low, they're putting on such a vintage show, with old school slogans and red star lines, while the rest of us look for better signs. They're biting the hand that helped us grow. It's time for the Rogues Gallery to go. We saw the ships on the deep blue sea, but that's not the company for you and me. We don't want the mullahs or the iron fist. Give us a friendship we've truly missed. Black, brown, and white, we're standing tall, asking for liberty for one and all. Keep your comrades, we want the bold. We want a story that's paved in gold. find a party where everyone's one. Peace and love and a proper date. Make new friends. Capitalism looks really great. Make new democracy is the way to be. A brand new friend for you and me.
Marvin Devine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming, it's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Tower, this is Green Leader. Lusaka Tower, this is Green Leader. We have no quarrel with Zambia's forces. Stand down. We are pursuing terrorists fleeing from the country into your country. Tower, this is Green Leader. We will shoot down any aircraft that rises to the challenge. We ask you stand down. Tower, this is Green Leader. By the same token, South Africans, I have no quarrel with you. None whatsoever. But I do have a quarrel with some of your hateful people. Yeah, well, children, we are over the target, hence the Green Leader reference. We are over the target, ladies and gentlemen. The Flying Monkey Parade has come out in full force with fake op-eds in Cockprot 24, radio appearances, and the trolls attacking, and they're just comical. From demented lunatics, self-loathing whites to black radical nationalists, it's all on display. Yeah, you know, when you take this kind of flack, you're definitely over the target. I mean, I listened to some drivel earlier from some moron who did a video, and I sat through it and stomached it. The guy said, I just came out of nowhere 6 years ago. Well, yeah, dumbass, go look at my profile. It's there. You're such a lazy shit, and he's the echo chamber listening to you. Yes, I came out of nowhere. I was on active duty as an intelligence officer. But if you took the time to investigate my profile, you would see that I was on social media, but not commenting about things like I do now because I had restraints. Commissioned officers are not allowed to criticize the chain of command. It's not a good thing. Commissioned officers cannot state foreign policy positions. Commissioned officers cannot do many things, but my presence was there on LinkedIn, publishing thousands of stories, republishing printed stories, and giving my analysis on those stories. In addition to that, you'll also find that my Twitter account goes back 20 years, and I've posted many things, particularly about U.S. politics, on my Twitter account, not so much in South Africa. So that was the first nonsense. The next one is that I'm a Fed. Well, that's slander and defamation. You have no evidence of that, and your basis for making the claim is ridiculous. Anyway, this person also said that the U.S. is trying to undermine South Africa by removing all its farmers. Well, that shows you the complete ignorance of the asswipe, because the program is not for farmers. The refugee program is not for farmers, and most people who've come over are not farmers. By the way, folks, I do have some breaking news today. I'll get this in a second. What else did this guy say? What else did he say here? Oh, called all the people involved with the Truth Report Zionist. Well, there's a Jew hater right there. There's a Jew hater there. Believing that Israel has a right to exist doesn't make you a Zionist. It makes you someone that recognizes the United Nations, because Israel's a member of the United Nations. So, you know, that's all that is. Anyway, some breaking news now for the audience. Let's get to some of the breaking news. First breaking news. Yeah, very stupid people, Charles. And there's lots of them. And this is what happens. They come out. But they're easily discredited. This guy says, what is Wyatt's obsession with South Africa? Hey, dipshit. I'm a historian and political scientist. And I speak languages spoken in South Africa. What would I do? Learn the language of South Africa to speak it in Appalachia? Do you not have historians and political scientists in South Africa focus on America? Of course you do. You have an American history section at WITS. That's what they do. They analyze it. You have an entire foreign ministry section devoted to American studies. Of course we have people focused on South Africa and on Yemen, on India, and on China, and on Russia. Are you a moron? Yes, the person is a moron. Why does he cover America? I do, dumbass. Every day. Every day in my news program, I cover American news. See, this shows you just how stupid, lazy, retarded, useless these frauds are that come out and attack me. It's 11/11. They are that useless and lazy. Every day, anyone who watches this program knows I start my news normally with South Africa, unless there's a big breaking story. I do that. South Africa. I work my way across Africa, around the world, and my news wraps up with a lot of news in America. Not to mention, I have an entire channel devoted to America. But lazy hate wankers just can't be bothered to look. You can't be bothered to look. Hang on a second here. I got some tea I got to finish off here. Well, Paul, the people I'm talking about are white. White. Doesn't know his own history. It shows the level of their intelligence. It does. It does. Yeah, I should have bestseller signs with those shirts. Exactly, Max. Where were these people that know so much for the last 20 years? I was there, working in the intelligence community, teaching at university, running HIV programs. See, that's the funny thing with this. I love this. I love this. These people that run their mouth. Where were you when I was running HIV programs in Botswana? Where were you at? You weren't there. Where were you when I was running HIV programs in Niger, establishing there, or in Mauritania, or rebuilding one that was broken in Uganda? Where were you when I built clinics in Francistown for $500,000, or in Molopole? You weren't there. Where were you when I hunted terrorists in East Africa? You weren't there. Where were you when I lectured at the G5 Sahel Defense College or at the Nigerian War College? You weren't there. Where were you when we built schools and clinics in Liberia and rebuilt an army after Civil War and taught them to obey the rule of law? You weren't there. What are your published works? Has Stellenbosch published your work? No. You're just a hate wanker that attacks other people because you have a pathetic life. No bona fides. None of these people have any bona fides. The fact that fake publications like Cockprot24 give people platforms who have no qualifications whatsoever, who have no experience whatsoever, who've done nothing whatsoever, and simply listen to them because they're uninformed bullshit opinions. And they distract, telling lies over here unrelated to the commentary. What are you going to do? Except continue to tell the truth on a daily basis. Where did this guy come from? Where did I come from? It's a matter of record. We've only talked about it 85 billion times. My last job was the Army War College, Director of African Studies, matter of public record. Go look it up. Talk to the hundreds of students of mine from around the world, militaries who served under me. Go ahead. Feel free. Before that, I was in Ethiopia as a senior military advisor to the African Union. I worked for Reuben Brigady, who used to be ambassador in South Africa. He was my ambassador in the African Union. Before that, Uganda. Before that, Africa Command. Before that, Niger, Mauritania. The list goes on and on. Not a state secret. Not a state secret. The guy's a Fed. That's comical. I do receive money from the federal government. That's absolutely correct. I spent 36 years in the Army, plus. I get a retirement check every month. Doesn't make me a Fed. Stupid people should wear signs. They really should. They really should be wearing signs. Sorry, I've got sty in my eye. Sleep here. Didn't realize that. It was in the corner of my eye. Ouch. God bless it. I slept pretty solid last night, so my eyes must have been leaking when I was sleeping. Probably crying tears for these idiots. Anyway, let me check the other one now. Yeah, that one's okay. Anyway, yeah, it's just unbelievable the level of stupidity. And these people spread their nonsense. They're all over. We've seen them come and go. They come and go. They come and go. And they will go. Yep. All right. So, unfortunately, Chris, the more popular you get, the more haters will come. That's true, David. That's true. And who's that? Francis Ferreira just gave a 35 Rand. These people must piss off. Seriously, moronic behavior, dangerously naive. Yeah, exactly. And they're running around talking about the people are hurting South Africa. The people hurting South Africa are idiots like that, who deny the truth and lie about people trying to make a difference. They attack. Right? This guy's got a hard-on for Rob Hersoff. He wants to debate Rob Hersoff. I mean, Rob, it's not worth 3 seconds of your time. The guy couldn't put two brain cells together. He couldn't explode two brain cells to save himself. Apocalypse Ninja, do you use any eSIM when you're... No, I do not. I do not use eSIM. There are challenges with eSIM. Apparently, I don't know. I don't deal with them. Apparently, you can only use them a couple times. I always get a SIM card. I just get a SIM card. That way, I got a physical SIM card. I don't mess with eSIMs. I don't mess with eSIMs. Okay, breaking news. You guys ready for the breaking news? We got almost 500 people here now. Shall I give you the breaking news? Anybody want to hear the breaking news? Let's see if anybody says anything. Send Waltz one time. Yeah, that's not a bad place for Tim Waltz. Okay, okay, there we go. There we go. There we go. Okay, cool. So breaking news. I have been getting lots of comments from people that they've been denied refugee status. Now, I took that seriously, and I still take it seriously. First off, there's a difference between being denied and not being eligible. If you're not a South African citizen living in South Africa currently who is an Afrikaner or a racial minority, you cannot qualify for the program. So if you're not in that category, if you're a South African in Namibia, you weren't denied. You weren't eligible. If you are a Zulu in South Africa and you apply and you're denied, you weren't denied. You were not eligible. You weren't under consideration. As I said, if you are denied, you receive a letter. They don't just give you a phone call. Hey, listen, this is Kiplan God in Nairobi. You've been denied. Yeah, too bad. Fuck off. That's not how it works. You have to receive a letter. And why would you need a letter? Because you do have the ability, I'm not saying it's a right because they can refuse it, you do have the ability to do an RFR, or request for reconsideration or review. They reconsider your case. If you have new information, or if the information they have is incorrect and you're able to correct the record, if the basis. But how can you do that without the information to explain why you were denied? If you're just told you're denied, you can't do anything. You have 90 days. Why would the USCIS create a process under US law that gives you 90 days to put an RFR in and then not tell you why you were denied? It simply isn't plausible. So, also, CWS can't deny you. RSC cannot deny you. The Amerikaners cannot deny you. I have said this over and over again ever since last year in the summertime, Northern Hemisphere, when they announced that these providers, RSC initially, and then later the Amerikaners were coming on board. I said they can't deny you. Oh, who are these Kenyans to determine? They cannot. They have no say in whether you go in or not. That determination is done by a U.S. citizen who is an officer of USCIS. That's who makes that decision. Not a Kenyan, not a foreign national. I have told you that for a year, almost a year now. So let's talk about the breaking news specifically here. To date, according to the U.S. government today, sources confirm me within the U.S. government, not a single eligible South African refugee applicant has been denied. Not one. Not a single one. 0, 9, yet, nada, nix in the Bahnhof. None. So for all you people that are saying you've been denied, I don't know where you're getting that denial from. Did you get a letter? I have yet to receive a copy of a letter that someone received saying, this is your case number, this is your name, this is from USCIS, you've been denied for the following reasons. I haven't seen one. Until today, I would say that I couldn't deny that that had happened. People just might not want to share it because they want to disclose their personal information. Today, however, I can tell you, U.S. government sources have confirmed not a single person has been denied. Yes. So someone is spreading lies, or they don't understand what they're being told, or they're misinformed. Again, not a single person. There will be denials. Make no mistake, there will be denials. And there may be cases that are open now for months while they try to resolve them. Why would that be? Criminal convictions. Derogatory information that must be thoroughly investigated. There will be denials. But to date, not a single denial according to the U.S. government. Not me, U.S. government. I'm not making the claim. I threw doubt on the question whether there was any denials last week, and Professor G followed suit with me, agreeing with my assessment. He had his own assessment that also tacked onto that. Now I'm telling you, the U.S. government is saying there have been none. So whoever tell you this either don't understand or they're lying. Bottom line, if the U.S. government tells me there have been denials, then I'll share there have been denials. If I see a letter, and then the U.S. government tells me there were no denials, and I see the letter, then I'll send the U.S. government the letter to say, is this a fake letter? Yep. Also, last night, I spoke to an Indian South African. Nice gentleman who will soon be in America. Not white, not an Afrikaner, not a farmer. Nope. Not a white English speaker, but an Indian. He's definitely an Indian, man. And even from KZN. I'll be interviewing him on camera after he gets here. All right? Only get on your own horse you saddled yourself. I don't know what that means, Ananda. Thank you for your membership. Okay, that's the first one, Cherry Pie Lady. Thank you for becoming a member. That's the first breaking news. You ready for the second breaking news? Shall I give you the second breaking news? You ready for this? Hey, Heidi Kruger. Thank you. Clouds are gathering, man. No letter yet. What do you mean? Explain. Okay, this isn't a refugee program. I'm breaking news. It's a news program. Refugee questions coming in, but I will entertain this one question from Monique Budix. Please explain. Do my case. What? Show except for resettlement in U.S., but no letter yet, please. Because you're one of 100,000 people. It takes time. It takes time. All right, you want the next one? Next breaking information. Anecdotal information from more than one source has informed me that 120 people left South Africa as refugees for the United States yesterday. 120. 120. Hey, Riffs, 140 Rand. Thank you for that, man. 140 South Africans came to America and arrived today in the U.S. as refugees. 140. 100. I said 140, 120. See, 120. 140. I got the super chat stuck in my head. 140. 120. 120. The previous high we've been able to report was over 50. Now it's more than double that. More than double that. Again, anecdotal evidence from multiple sources. I wasn't at airports to confirming this or at the departure point. This is from people who came over and arrived in the States and contacted me today. Anecdotal. So, what did I tell you? I told you in January this program will take off. I told you patience. I told you it takes time. I told you that it's not unusual what's happening and that your impatience is part of the problem. Now, that's easy for me to say, and for those who've been waiting for a few months or several months, it's not easy to deal with. But that's the case. Meanwhile, you South Africans send me your horror stories, and I deal with them every day. Attempted suicides. Yes, this is something I'm dealing with now. Somebody who contacts me had a family member try to kill themselves. That's not the first time. And that comes on me. Yet I've got hate wankers running around talking about who I am and what I'm all about and what this is about. They can just foot sec. I'm tired of the nonsense from these idiots. Helping people who've made themselves homeless with dumb decisions. People who have no food because they were too stubborn and arrogant to write and ask for assistance when it was time. Then they spent all their money and they have the money. Well, I'm hungry now. Well, had you contacted me 6 weeks ago, I could have got you free food. Food Socks has been incredible. Thank you for the super chat. And thank you for your membership. And then Neff says, my 11-year-old daughter insists when she does revenue with you, when we are that side, we have medicals. Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah. So, these disgusting, vile, repulsive South Africans who continue to belittle others, who have no content of their own, who achieve nothing of their own, who attack people all the time, you're sad and pathetic. You can't handle the truth. Again, the truth of the matter is I do not encourage anyone to participate in the refugee program. I didn't ask for any refugees to come here. And I'm thrilled that Trump has turned off the tap because we have enough problems in this country to fix on our own. And to the hate wanker who talks about, why doesn't he talk America? I do. And that's one of the things I talk about. I also ran 13-hour live broadcast of the election in 2020. Seriously? Why not? I mean, 9 hours, not 13 hours. I don't talk about America? What an idiot. Yeah, people accuse me of being racist. Come think about it. Are the racist? They are the racist. And they're selective. Why do I go to the Basotho village and promote the Sotho culture? Why do I promote Tswana? Why do I try for 3 years to get an interview with a nonagenarian in her 90s, Oma Catherine Esau, to tell people about the last native speaker, first language speaker of Nu, a San language? Are any of these racists doing that? No. No. They're just running around calling people white supremacists. They're idiots. All right, that's the second breaking news article. I have a third breaking news article. Thank you very much, Romeo Victor, for your membership. And Eric Olafier, 35 Rand, thank you. Are you ready for the third breaking news story? Oh, that's a thank you. Third breaking news story. You ready for it? That's two. We've done one. No denials to date, U.S. government says, right? 120 refugees arrived today. That's a record to my knowledge. And a third piece of breaking news. You ready for the third breaking news? Are you ready for the third breaking news? All right, here you go. Here's the third breaking news. I haven't shared this because I've been trying to help people because it wasn't many. But the number of people in South Africa who are family members, who are not in America, who are contacting me about their families in America and how horrible they have it and how wrong it is and how everything's messed up and how it's unfair and they're unsafe here. 70% of those cases have been hyperbole, exaggeration, embellishment. In those cases, which is less than 10% of all the refugees come over here, well under 10%, it's about 4 or 5%. Of those cases I'm aware of, 70% of the ones that come to my attention that I investigate and talk to the people involved are bullshit. The refugee assistance officer is a paid employee. He's not your life coach. She's not your pastor. She's not your manservant. He's not your manservant. They don't work for you on weekends or holidays. The expectations of some people are out of line, and when they talk to their family back in South Africa, they spin this into a web of nonsense. Now, there are genuine situations. People in Rochester are getting screwed over. People in Modesto, California getting screwed over. Whites and coloreds. There are people getting screwed over in a few places, like Buffalo, New York. I'm on the case. But so many people wasting their time and my time. And I haven't made a video about this until now. This is breaking. I'll publish this video after this stream is done. The third breaking news story is the following. And this is for refugees. When you come to America as a refugee, you are given a briefing. Your briefing tells you that if you're dissatisfied with the performance of your case officer and the support you get from the Refugee Assistance Agency when you arrive in your destination, there is recourse. Recourse isn't Colonel Wyatt, who doesn't work for the government, although I do my best to help, and I've helped a lot of people in the U.S. and South Africa. Your recourse is USCIS. They have a process for it. They have a process for it, folks. That's the breaking news. Contact USCIS. That's the process. Now, if you don't get resolution, then you can reach out to me. All right? That's the breaking story. You have a grievance process. That's the third breaking story. Refugees have a grievance process. You are given information on what to do and how to contact USCIS. So my question is to all these people and to their families in South Africa who are spinning this thing into a freaking typhoon. Why aren't you using the grievance process? Why don't you call the number that they gave you? I don't have access to that number, and I don't have a basis to do it unless I become your attorney. And I have no interest in becoming an attorney. Folks, no refugees have been denied, as per the U.S. government, to date, eligible. You got to be eligible. Can't be a South African living in Namibia. It doesn't count. No refugees denied. 120 refugees arrived in America today. And those who are here use the grievance process. There you go. There you go. So what happened last couple? Multipass, no bad things are on you, Colonel. Thank you for reporting. Thank you. Francois Ferreira sent a gifted membership, and it went to Andreas Muller. Congratulations. Okay, what's this? Someone got their message deleted. Oh, it got deleted because you asked a refugee question. Okay, I'm not entertaining refugee questions. And then you put it again. So, did you not get that the first time when I said this isn't a refugee session? I'm not answering questions about refugee, but then you still stick your refugee question in there. You are welcome to ask your refugee question at the end of this. I was going to answer it, but when I see you posted a second time and it got deleted a second time, I'm not going to answer it. That's very selfish. All right? So, if you want to hang around, I'll answer your question at the end. Okay, I'll answer the question now. But you're very self-centered. That's very rude. You asked the question about whether our carriers are being used. It's a story that I'm aware of that I haven't reported on, and refugees, shame on them for telling people that they've used other carriers. As I said, normally refugees only go out on U.S. flag carriers, but South Africa is a special case. There's only 2 U.S. carriers flying out of there. It's not Frankfurt, where we have Delta and American and United and other airlines all flying out of there. So, is it possible that someone flew on KLM is the question? It is possible. Has someone flown in KLM? I'm neither going to confirm nor deny that. I'll leave it at that. Not my place to do that. All right, time for the news. Heinrich Engelbrecht, you are late to the party. I've been reporting on the 5 terrorism lawsuits against MTN, Cyril Ramaphosa, and Nkabisi Jonas for months, for a couple of years now. I haven't talked about much in the past, but I've talked about occasionally. Those 5 cases, now that they have not been dismissed, MTN tried to get them dismissed in U.S. courts. They have not. These cases are at the root of many of the problems between the U.S. and South Africa. MTN, through Iran cell, funded terrorists who murdered U.S. service members in Afghanistan and in Iraq. And if you think that they're going to get away with that, well, it's still in the works. All right, be sure to hit the like button, folks, if you haven't done already. All right, there's your breaking news for today. I answered the gentleman's question. I think that was generous of me. I had no obligation to do that. Well, the South African government has woken up to what's happening in Iran. I guess they finished navel gazing after I asked them, begged them, admonished them to do something. Then the DA did it. Maybe now they're doing it. Thank you so much for clearing that up. I feel much more calm and content. You're welcome, Francois. Thank you for 35 Rand. All right, so again, listen to what I said. The U.S. government says no one's been denied. I'm simply reporting what the U.S. government said. All right? So if we later find out that someone was already denied, then I will query the U.S. government. But right now, the U.S. government tells me that no one has been denied who's eligible. Important distinction. South Africa urges Iran to respect right of citizens now that they've killed thousands. Well, it's a bit late there, ANC. 3 weeks after it started. The South African government on Thursday called on the Iranian government to allow citizens to exercise the right to protest in peace after rights groups said the death toll in the regime's crackdown had reached thousands. Ramaphosa's office said that respecting the will of citizens was the only route to ensure long-term stability. South Africa firmly believes the right of peaceful protest, freedom of expression, freedom of association are universal human rights that must be upheld without exception. Really? Then why didn't you allow some of the demonstrations during COVID? People applied for, you denied them. South Africa urges Iran to allow peaceful protest. You notice it's Ramaphosa and Vincent Magwenya, the spokesman of the presidency, not Ronald Lamola talking about this. Now, why is that? Mark Myberg. The DA is in a lot of trouble, Mark, and I've been saying that. And I'll cover that story. South Africa firmly believes the right to peaceful protest. Yeah, I already read that. We call on Iranian authorities to ensure that citizens exercise the right to protest in peace, says South African presidency. But not Durko. Not Durko. Absent on the job yet again. Too busy making up fantasies about America, aggressive towards South Africa, Ronnie Lamola. Well, South Africa's welcomed U.S. House vote to extend AGOA, but uncertainty lingers. Yes, because you won't be part of it. Jana Marks, South Africa won't be in AGOA. Will not be in AGOA. Not going to happen. According to the Department of Trade and Industry and Competition, that will be Parks Tau, the renewal complements regional integration efforts under the African Continental Free Trade Agreement and could anchor new value chains in certain sectors. Yes, it will help Africa, but it won't help South Africa. You are ineligible. Your abrogation of the rule of law, expropriation of compensation in violation of Section 25 of the South African Constitution, and a clear violation of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, of which South Africa is a signatory, thereby negate your participation in AGOA. If the U.S. government allows South Africa to participate in AGOA now, after what it's done, then I'll lead a protest on the Capitol building. The SANDF apparently defied presidential orders. Well, Peter Fabricius, another great story. 3 Iranian Navy ships remain in False Bay. 1 actually participated in Will for Peace. Yeah, there's considerable confusion about Iran's involvement, and the DA and members of the public are demanding clarity. Yes, they are. Over the weekend, they decided that Iran should withdraw its ships from the exercise. Ramaphosa was clearly concerned about the damage Iran's participation would have due to South Africa's relations with the United States when the African Growth Opportunity Act was making its way through Congress. But this just shows you how disconnected the South African government is. They only realized after the Iranians were in False Bay at Simonstown that this was bad optics. They only realized then, not the months before when they invited, not the weeks before while they steamed from the Persian Gulf down to the Cape of Good Hope. They didn't realize it then. Not during the 2 weeks of slaughter of innocent civilians in Iran. They didn't notice it then. Only now, after the bill gets on the floor, a bill that will exclude South Africa, they don't realize they're not part of the conversation. These are your leaders. These are the people leading a country the size of South Africa. These people couldn't lead a kindergarten creche. They couldn't lead a kindergarten creche where the kids are all wearing a cord linking them all together. They couldn't lead them. Well, as Mark Myberg said, the Democratic Alliance is in deep kimchi today. Deon George quits the DA. Axed Forestry and Fisheries Environment Minister accuses DA of ANC capture. Well, I would warn the Freedom Front Plus, steer clear of this guy. You don't want him. No, steer clear of him. You don't want a reject from the DA in this case. Axed Environment Minister Deon George has resigned as an MP and terminated his DA membership after a spat with John Steenhuisen. Two have been at loggerheads for months, leading to internal investigation. Party called on the two to stop their public bickering and face possible termination. Well, I think Deon George will continue his public bickering with John Steenhuisen and his right to do it. He's no longer in the DA. He can say what he wants. The DA can no longer censor Deon George. So now let's see what Deon George has to say. Let's see what the public protector case that he's put forward has to come up with. Because now Deon George is no longer muzzled by the Democratic Alliance, a fascist leftist organization. Ooh, that's a strong statement. Maybe they're not. Maybe they are. DA civil war explodes as Deon George walks out after bitter fallout with Steenhuisen. George announced his resignation during a sit-down interview with ENCA, where he read a statement outlining his reasons for leaving the party he joined in 1995. He confirmed that he had written to the DA on Thursday to cancel his membership and had also stepped down as the party's federal chairperson of finance and as a member of parliament. The situation has become intolerable. I'm being pushed out and it's no longer feasible for me to remain in the party. He claimed he was issued a gag order by the party in November after defending himself publicly. This did not apply to others, such as Willie Okamp and John Steenhuisen, who both continued to attack me without any response or support from the party. He accused Steenhuisen of capturing the DA on behalf of the African National Congress and criminal interests, leaving the party muzzled, unable to lead South Africa's interests. Well, I think that a lot of people would agree with Deon George. The actions of the Democratic Alliance would appear to prove his point. The Democratic Alliance, this far and no further. Bella, no. EWC, no. NHI, no. Employment Equity Act, no. Yet the DA is part of the government national unity. Every one of those things has come to fruition. And what has the DA said? Nothing. 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 Silence. Quiet. They're busy kicking out their best members. Democratic Alliance has cut its own throat. Deon George left before internal probe was completed, says Helen Zilla. Well, that's not really germane, Helen. Not really germane. It's unfortunate Dr. George resigned before answering a pending disciplinary before the DA's Federal Legal Commission. Well, we already know what the Federal Legal Commission is. It's poppycock. You do an investigation of Ronaldo Khoz. They vote 4-3 to retain him in the party and as a member of parliament. And then that's overridden by your corrupt leadership interest, and he's kicked out of the party for something he never did. Because you're a cowardly party. So this federal commission just absolved John Steenhuisen of any concerns about his credit card. You have zero credibility. Zero credibility. You muzzled Emma Powell. You muzzled Andrew Whitfield for doing what you told them to do. For doing what you told them to do. I love how the DA sent people like Emma Powell to Israel. And when the press found out they were there, the DA sanctioned them for having gone to Israel when the DA sent them there. This, like the ANC, is a party that's imploding. Not defeated, but hurt, says Deon George. He says he was moved as minister without an explanation. Accuses Steenkamp of compromised DA values, silencing dissent, and colluding with criminal interests. The DA denies his claims, citing pending disciplinary issues, including allegations of misconduct. Well, there you go. The misconduct in bringing the party to disrepute is John Steenhuisen. Make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, John Steenhuisen is the person who brought the party to disrepute. The leader of a political party, a member of parliament, a minister in the president's cabinet, who makes 2.6 million rand per year, has zero assets to his name as a 48-year-old. What has he accomplished in 30 years as an adult? No assets. Nothing. He might as well live in Kailicha. At least they have shacks. he has a court judgment against him for failure to pay his credit card bills. That doesn't happen when you miss one payment. That doesn't happen when you miss 2 payments. That doesn't happen when you miss 3 payments, particularly when you're politically influential and you can push this stuff off. That took a long time. And in all that time, all those many months, he didn't pay his credit card bill. You want to talk bring a party in disrepute? John Steenhuisen. Foot and mouth disease was diagnosed as a problem identified in December of 2024. In April of 2025, paying attention to what was happening in South Africa and to farmers whom I know, I contacted Minister Steenhuisen's office and through his PA asked for an interview with him about foot and mouth disease and what steps South Africa can take to prevent this from metastasizing. Minister Steenhuisen's PA agreed that he would come on the program, as has happened a dozen times in the past. But as happened a dozen times in the past, I was fobbed off. When the interview didn't happen on Monday, I said, well, he's not available today. Okay, we'll do it tomorrow. Didn't happen the next day. We'll do it Thursday or Friday. Didn't happen. Then the next time I wrote, no response. In May of last year, again, 6 months after this crisis started, but it was still small and contained to a relatively few spots, I contacted again. And again, I was ignored by Minister Steenhuisen's office. He's allowed South Africa's cattle industry to be destroyed, to be utterly eviscerated. Farmers are losing their ass because of his incompetence. No plan. 15 months into a crisis, he has a plan. Yeah. Enoch Gondwana calls for truce on national health insurance. Finance Minister Enoch Gondwana says that the 9 court cases blocking the NHI should be resolved through an agreement on the best way to implement health coverage. So Enoch Gondwana doesn't want to stop national health insurance. He wants to stop the lawsuits. Enoch Gondwana wants the lawsuits to disappear so that communism can prevail. And this is your finance minister? This is the person who's supposed to understand how the economy is supposed to grow with state capture of the private sector? No, I'm sorry. Enoch Gondwana lost all credibility with this argument. Well, more job losses in South Africa as criminal cartels continue to undermine legitimate business. The cigarette industry is collapsing, the legitimate cigarette business. British American Tobacco has announced the end of South African manufacturing after having been there for ages. The move comes after the company decided to close its Mozambican operations in December. South African subsidiary said it would close its only factory in the country by the end of the year, citing a booming black market. British American Tobacco South Africa said it would cease cigarette production in South Africa because of the devastating impact of illicit cigarette trade. The affected factory, which is located in Heidelberg, 50 kilometers southeast of Joburg, is currently operating at 35% of total capacity because of severe volume losses. The company said its closure threatens 230 jobs. The company employs 970 staff in South Africa alone. Shares in the group, which owns Lucky Strike and Camel brands, as well as a roster of non-tobacco products, rose 1.7% on news. With approximately 75% of South Africa's cigarette market now estimated to be illicit, local manufacturing has become unviable. The Heidelberg factory operated for 50 years. Wow. So another industry disappearing. Another industry disappearing. The Inkatha Freedom Party claims KZN Premier threatened with death on social media. To which I say, welcome to the party. You think he's the first person who's been threatened on social media with death? Take a number. IFP and KZN legislators condemned the alleged death threats directed at Premier Thami Ntuli, which it said circulated on social media. The allegation was made in a statement by one of Ntuli's allies in the party. Well, that should not be happening to anyone. Barbara Creasy comes up with a novel idea. It shows you just that, once again, that these communists are smoking their socks. While I have a personal rule against drink and drive, if I have 1 drop of alcohol, I will not drive. That's a rule I don't break. That's my rule. But that's what Barbara Creasy wants to impose on South Africans. She's smoking her socks. She wants a total ban on drinking before driving after festive season carnage. Transport Minister Barbara Creasy, the communist, has moved to place a zero-tolerance drinking and driving policy at the center of the government's road safety strategy. Speaking at a media briefing in Pretoria today, Creasy said South Africa could no longer justify laws that permit motorists to drink alcohol and then drive. Really? Wow. Hey, Shirley Rawlinson, thank you for the Superman 70 Superman super chat. Clouds are gathering. So her answer, because a few people transgress, is to punish everybody. Look, I'm not promoting alcohol. I don't drink generally, but I'm not a teetotaler. People can imbibe and enjoy it. That's the purpose of it. It's a whole industry. There's a whole lifestyle around it. Responsible drinking is responsible drinking, but punishing responsible drinkers because people are driving while intoxicated won't solve the problem. They'll simply make illicit stuff and they'll drink. The drunks will continue to drink. This will just stop honest people from drinking and ruin their social lives. It's not going to improve things. These people think government can stop things. They're stupid. Barbara Creasy is our Mampara of the day. Yeah. The All Blacks, Scott Robertson has been axed by the All Blacks. Despite a 74% winning percentage, he's gone. I guess getting smoked by the Springboks on the 13th of September in Wellington was a bridge too far. It appears that player power ended the 2-year tenure of All Blacks coach Scott Robertson, who stepped down before formally being fired amid senior player unhappiness and poor results. Poor results. Poor results. He won 75% of his matches. What do these people want? 100%? Yes. The All Blacks expect 85-90% success rate. Anything less is unacceptable. Well, that 74% win rate is because of his players who are useless, who don't perform on the pitch. They're the ones knocking the ball on. They're the ones kicking it in touch. They're the ones not scoring tries. They're the ones crashing into the line time and time again when there's no meters to be gained. They are the players failing, not Scott Robertson. Not a fan of Razor, but he didn't deserve this. He didn't deserve this. Just not right. Trump says Iran has no plan for executions as U.S. weighs options against regime. President Trump said Iran has no plan for executions amid fears the fate of detained anti-government protester. He declined to take military action off the table. Thousands have been killed in Iran. Iran reopens its airspace after Trump says protest crackdown is easy. Iran's judiciary said Irfan Soltani, whose rights groups say faced execution after being arrested last week, would not be put to death. Well, he saved his life, but not all the other people. Commercial airlines, including from Turkey and the UAE, were seen traversing Iran's airspace on Thursday, today. Tensions in the region soared when officials said the Pentagon had begun relocating personnel and equipment away from key facilities in the Middle East. That's still happening, so take what you want from that. Trump says Iran is stopping its killings of protesters as U.S. moves troops. Here are a bunch of U.S. troops at the Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. See, I always love how they say American bases. We would name a base Al Udeid. It would be named Patton or something like that. It is a Qatari base where we are working out of. Well, is Starlink actually helping Iranians? Yeah, well, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. A lot of people say it is, but it's been jammed, so it's proved to be less than successful when the government wants to shut it down. Keep that in mind. Trump says Iran has halted the killings amid mounting protesting pressure. So what's the impact of this? Let's talk about it very quickly. So President Trump threatened if they kill people, we will intervene. Then he told the protesters to continue their protests. We have your backs. We're locked and loaded. Today, President Trump says, nothing. President Trump has squandered his credibility in this. Oh, am I criticizing President Trump? I am. Not a wise move. You can't play Obama and say, there's a line in the sand here. Oh, they crossed it. Well, I didn't really mean it. He should never have said that if he didn't mean it. Now, I don't think we're done. We may very well still do something in Iran, but not a good look for the administration. Not a good look for President Trump's reputation. Not a good look at all. The opposition to Greens will not support Labor's anti-Semitism hate speech law in Australia. Wow. 144-page response to the Bondi terror attack has received a broad array of responses in Australia. The Federal Coalition and Greens have expressed serious concerns around Labor's proposed hate speech laws. Wow. The Combating Anti-Semitism, Hate and Extremism bill captures the federal Labor government's full response. 144-page draft will be debated next week with only a 48-hour period for public submissions. Wow, they don't want to hear from the public. The draft has already been drawing criticism from academics, Jewish and Muslim groups who make concerns that laws extend beyond anti-Semitism will capture even legitimate debate. Of course they will. Thank you, Nixie, for the 7 rand super chat. Clouds are gathering. Australia is a censorship, fascist, totalitarian state. Scott Morrison, Dan Andrews, this clown is in charge now. It's censorship country. It has been for a long time. and they just oppress their citizens, and they want to oppress them even more. Their response after disarming Australians is not to let them be armed to stop someone from shooting dozens of people like that, but just leave you to the whims of murderers and silence your speech. Well, Denmark says there are fundamental disagreement between the United States and itself over Greenland. There is the Greenlandic foreign minister and the Danish foreign minister, former prime minister. Yep. Trump reiterated the U.S. needs Greenland and Denmark cannot be relied upon to protect the island. Earlier in the day, foreign ministers Denmark and Greenland met with U.S. Secretary of State Rubio and Vice President Vance. And they say they have a fundamental disagreement. Danish Foreign Minister Lars Løkke Rasmussen said they didn't manage to change the American position that it must acquire Greenland. They have a fundamental disagreement. So what does that mean? We will see going forward. Probably not good. As I said, the Danish officials say there's a fundamental disagreement with the U.S. over Greenland. Trump said anything less is unacceptable. Wants control of the territory. Well, European troops arrive in Greenland. Yes, that's right. Yeah, the Americans say that the Danes can't defend Greenland. They aren't defending Greenland. But the Europeans have come to help. The largest island in the world, often mistaken for a continent. Huge island, which, to be fair, under the Mercator projection is much larger than it really is. The Peters projection is much more accurate, but it's still the largest island in the world. Mark Myberg. Thanks, Chris, going to my colonel. What is... Oh, okay. Thank you, Mark. I didn't know he was on. But that's 7 minutes away. You still got 7 minutes. Thanks for the super chat. European troops arrive in Greenland. You ready for this, folks? France sends 15 soldiers. Germany 13. Norway, Sweden also participating. Not even 50 European troops for an exercise in Greenland. That's how they defend Greenland? Oh, my goodness. The mission has been described as a recognition of the territory exercise with troops to plant European Union's flag on Greenland as a symbolic act. The first French military element's already en route. Others will follow. What is that? 3 people? 3 people on SAS flight to Greenland? 50 French troops, 13 Germans. We were going to send an entire Marine task force to Lohatla a few years ago, and ANC, one of the members of one of the defense, said, no, that's too many. So we downgraded. We still sent 750 Marines to Lohatla. They sent 50 Frenchmen and 13 Germans. And you know what the 15 Frenchmen and Germans are doing? Arguing about schnapps and wine. Oh, dear God. Oh, gosh. Oh, peace. Oh, my goodness. Well, President Trump has threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act. Finally. He threatens to invoke the Insurrection Act after Minneapolis protests. President Trump today threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act to quell protests in Minneapolis after an Immigration and Customs Enforcement agent killed a woman in the city last week. The president was previously threatened to invoke the 1807 Act, said he would do so if the corrupt politicians in Minnesota don't obey the law and stop the professional agitators and insurrectionists from attacking patriots of ICE. There you go. Do it. Do it now. Right now. Invoke it, President. It's years overdue. The United States to suspend immigrant visa processing for 75 countries, and surprisingly, not many people cared about this. I got very few views on this video. Ooh, Asbach Uralt. There you go, Garrett. Asbach Uralt. Good stuff. Good branding. 75 countries, including a number of African countries, ladies and gentlemen. Included in this is a number of African countries. Absolutely. Yep. So this means that people can't get immigrant visas. Doesn't mean they can't get tourist visas or business visas. They can still come for that, but they cannot come for immigration. You can't immigrate here now from 75 countries. Trump has shut the door to 75 countries of people coming here. And we are no doubt going to hear that it's racist and that it's wrong and all this other stuff. But the problem with that lie is that it includes Russia, Belarus, Bosnia, Georgia, Armenia. These are countries that are white and Christian, and they won't be allowed to come here. So they can try to portray it as racist, and they'll do so because they look at this, half of Africa is banned. But notice that Botswana is not on the list. Mozambique's not on the list. Swaziland's not on the list. South Africa's not on the list. Oh, but I thought we were targeting South Africa. America is aggressive towards South Africa. Yet we've not stopped people from South Africa from immigrating here. Oops, that's not it. Algeria, Cameroon, Cape Verde, Congo, Egypt. Here's the list. South Africa's not on that list, banning you from immigrating here. 75 countries around the world. Nearly half the planet are banned from immigrating here. But not South Africa. So how is the United States targeting South Africa and being aggressive to South Africa? It's total bullshit. It's all lies. It's all lies. U.S. has suspended immigration visas from 75 countries over the issue of public assistance because people from those countries were inordinately living off of state resources after they arrived here. It begins on January 21st. The Trump administration is bringing an end to the abuse of America's immigration system by those who would extract wealth from the American people. Immigrant visa processing from these 75 countries will be paused while the State Department reassesses immigration processing procedures to prevent the entry of foreign nationals who would take welfare and public benefits. There you go. Interesting, no? Minnesota, Illinois are taking a novel approach. Now, during the COVID scam, I repeatedly referred to Article 10 of the Constitution. Those powers not explicitly granted to the federal government are reserved to the sovereign states. I've used that over and over again, Article 10. Now, the demon rats are trying to use Article 10 to claim that the president is overstepping his bounds, that they have the right to provide security in their states, but not when they fail to provide it. Minnesota invoked the 10th Amendment in lawsuits to block federal agents in their cities. It's not going to happen. This is a misuse of the 10th Amendment. The lawsuits are separate. Both cite the 10th Amendment to back their claim that the surge of immigration customs enforcement is tantamount to federal overreach and a violation of their state sovereignty. Well, wait till Trump invokes the Insurrection Act of 1807. They're really going to scream then. Yep. Senate blocks a measure to prevent Trump from taking action in Venezuela. The War Powers Act, they tried to invoke it. And by a vote of 50-50, Josh Hawley and Young from Indiana voted with the Republicans in the end after voting against them last week. And then Vice President Vance broke the tie 51-50. And therefore, the War Powers resolution, which was asinine, there are no troops in Venezuela, is simply an effort to restrict the executive branch unconstitutionally, has failed. 36,000 Afghans could not provide IDs when they entered the U.S. This, according to the Deputy Inspector General. Several thousand also said they did not know the date of their birth when asked upon entering the United States. A Deputy Inspector General revealed in January 14th Senate hearing that tens of thousands of Afghan refugees could not provide key identification when entering the United States through the Biden-era parole program. Additionally, lawmakers revealed that more than 50 individuals in the United States with confirmed or suspected terrorist ties were allowed into the country under the same program. Under Operation Allies Welcome, the 2020 idiotic initiative under Biden to resettle Afghans in the wake of his idiotic botched withdrawal. This says 76,000 were led in the United States, but the actual number is 168,000. But of that 76,000 referring to, 36,000 had no identification. Half of them had no identification. And they're criticizing the refugee program from South Africa? That we're not vetting people properly? Biden didn't even look for identification to let these people in the country. Just let anybody get on a plane. 50 known terrorists were found after they arrived in America. According to the Daily Mail, which gets a bit sensationalist at times, Trump has told his generals to draw up a plan to invade Greenland. Donald Trump has ordered Special Forces commanders to draw up a plan for the invasion of Greenland, but is being resisted by senior military figures. Sources say the policy hawks around the U.S. president, led by political advisor Stephen Miller, have been so emboldened by the success of the operation to capture Maduro that they want to move quickly to seize Greenland before Russia-China makes a move. Well, there you go. Department of Homeland Security calls on Minnesota to honor ICE arrest detainers of more than 1,360 criminal illegal aliens. Debbie Fox, hey, good to see you again. Thank you for the 50 Rand Super Chat. Boss Luis, respect. It's an honor and privilege to be part of the White Army. Well, thank you for being here. So here's the problem. The reason why we have this chaos in Minnesota is because Minnesota is a sanctuary state. And Minneapolis certainly is. Thank you, Boss Luis. So if the officials in authority in Minnesota would simply turn over convicted felons who have a final deportation order when a detainer is issued by ICE, because they have these criminals and they've captured them. ICE asks them to hold while ICE comes and collects them to take them out. But instead of doing that, the idiots in Philadelphia, in Minneapolis, release these convicted criminals, rapists, murderers, pedophiles, assault and battery people, armed robbers, back into the streets of Minneapolis. 1,360 of these criminals were released into the streets of Minneapolis, or they refused to turn them over, I should say. Why are they refusing to turn criminals over to the federal government? When criminals are let go without honoring the detainer request, ICE agents are forced to pursue and make arrests in the community, and that's why we have all this chaos. There would be no need for this if simply they would follow the law. Since President Trump took office, Governor Walz has refused to cooperate with ICE and released nearly 470 of these criminals back on the streets of Minneapolis, of 1,360. Wow. So they've let these people back. According to 13 January DHS statement, the operation resulted in the arrest of a criminal illegal alien from Laos, convicted of armed robbery of a business, another criminal illegal alien from Laos with 12 criminal convictions, a criminal illegal alien from Liberia convicted of third-degree criminal sexual conduct, a criminal illegal alien from El Salvador convicted of sex assault, and a criminal illegal alien from Mexico convicted of drug charges. These are the people that they're arresting in that place. Well, folks, why does everybody want Greenland? Is it a bonanza? Everyone claims it is, but extracting minerals would be very expensive, very costly, and time-consuming. Well, expensive and costly are the same. Very time-consuming and not easy to do. It's a frozen wasteland. I love Greenland, but it's a frozen wasteland. And its economy is heavily subsidized by the Danes. Otherwise, they'd all be starving to death. Greenlanders get heavily subsidized by Denmark, and any future mining boom will be costly. Welcome to Greenland, an economy reliant on subsidies and shrimp. Yep. The economy is reliant on something more prosaic, fishing and a recent surge in investment to build new airports. Revenue from both these is trending down, causing the economy to flatline last year. Opinion polls over regions consistently show that Greenlanders are more concerned about the state of their economy than a foreign takeover by America. Greenland officials quietly concede in the short term anyone running this island is more likely to find themselves staring down a money pit rather than a gold mine. I agree. The island is one of the world's biggest welfare states, a vast expanse of ice-clad villages whose residents, reachable only by helicopter and prop jet, are nonetheless accustomed to the perks of Denmark's social democracy, from free health care to robust schools. It could also take years and billions of dollars to transform an economy where 98% of the exports are seafood into a mining behemoth. Yep. So good luck with Greenland. It's going to be an anchor. I get why Trump wants it. The U.S. Senate is seeking to block Trump from taking Greenland one way or another. Bipartisan NATO Union Protection Act introduced Tuesday would bar the Defense Department, Department of State from using funds to blockade, occupy, annex, or otherwise assert control over the territory of any NATO member state. That would be an illegal piece of legislation. Of course, Lisa the scumbag Alaska wackadoodle Murkowski is behind it. She's not a Republican. She just has an R next to her name. I think it stands for retarded. U.S. has seized a sixth oil tanker of the Shadow Fleet. The oil tanker Marinero, that's the one they seized previously. U.S. forces boarded a sixth oil tanker this morning, according to people familiar with the matter, in the waters near Venezuela. So there you go. Another one. Well, the Times of India asked the question, is America really in decline? Well, is it? That's what everybody says. But data shows that even the poorest states in America now outperform most of the G7 economies. For more than a decade, the idea of American decline has hardened into a familiar refrain, and the likes of this moron, Jeffrey Sachs, have spread that propaganda. And a relentless cycle of domestic crises that have made it easy to assume that U.S. power is ebbing, particularly when measured against supposedly rising China and a cohort of wealthy democratic allies. Yet when the economic data are examined alongside comparable figures from the G7 and other advanced economies, the picture looks far less straightforward. The United States remains an outlier among rich nations, not free of problems, but unusually resilient in output, productivity, and wealth creation. That resilience becomes most visible when America is viewed not in isolation, but relative to its peers. In 1990, the United States accounted for roughly 26% of global gross domestic product. More than 3 decades later, and after repeated predictions of China's inevitable overtaking, the United States' share remains virtually unchanged at 25.9%. That's assuming that Beijing's numbers are actually accurate. That consistency matters because the global economy is far larger today than it was at the end of the Cold War, with U.S. output now alone estimated $31 trillion in 2025. The contrast with America's closest allies is stark. When the Cold War ended, Britain, France, Italy, Japan, and Canada together represented 32% of the global economy. Britain, France, Italy, Japan, and Canada were 32%. Today, they're only 14% of the economy. So whose lunch is being eaten? Is the American lunch being eaten? Or is it our allies who had their lunch eaten, who've declined from 1/3 of global output to just 14%? Over half of their impact on the global economy, China has eaten their lunch. Britain, France, Italy, Japan, Canada have shrank as players in the global place. They're irrelevant compared to what they were 30 years ago. At a more granular level, per capita comparisons underline the divergence using data from the International Monetary Fund, the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis and Census Bureau. The poorest U.S. state, Mississippi, by GDP per capita now outperforms 4 of the G7 countries on the same measure, while West Virginia, with the second lowest per capita income, surpasses all 6 non-G7 members. Non-U.S., all non-U.S. G7. Since 2020, U.S. GDP per capita has risen roughly $20,000, a gain no other G7 economy has matched even over much longer periods. Productivity has been a decisive factor in this widening gap. The United States has outpaced the rest of the G7 in productivity growth, both nationally and at state level, driven by technology adoption, capital depth, and labor mobility. Europe's struggle to keep up has been formally acknowledged at the highest levels. The resilience of the U.S. economy is also reflected in the accumulation of private wealth. According to a World Health Ultra Wealth Report, the United States now houses 38% of the world's ultra high net worth population, individuals worth more than $30 million, a larger share than the next 10 countries combined in absolute terms. 192,470 Americans control $22.3 trillion in private wealth. The pace of accumulation accelerated rather than slowed. The number of ultra wealthy Americans rose by 21% in the past year alone. China, the nearest competitor, holds $5.9 trillion across 54,000 individuals, a fraction of the U.S. total. Germany, the United Kingdom, Japan, Hong Kong, Canada, France, Italy, and India all trail at a considerable distance. And this concentration is not confined to inherited fortunes. The United States continues to generate new wealth through entrepreneurship at a scale unmatched elsewhere. Of the world's 5 richest individuals, Elon Musk, Larry Ellison, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, and Larry Page, all are American and all built their fortunes rooted in technology platforms that reshaped entire industries. Their companies function as capital-generating ecosystems, reinforcing U.S. dominance in finance, innovation, and market depth. By comparison, wealth creation elsewhere has faced structural constraints. China's ultra-wealth populations continue to grow, but at a slowing pace, as tighter state control and trade restrictions weigh on its technology sector. Europe crossed the symbolic threshold of 1,000 billionaires for the first time, yet its growth remains more cautious and institutional, with less tolerance for the volatility that characterizes U.S. capitalism. So there you go. So much for America failing. Lawyers for Renee Good's family are seeking to investigate the Minnesota ICE shooting. Well, go ahead. You have an independent investigation. You're going to find that her lesbian lover is complicit in what happened and should be in prison. So go ahead. I encourage the Good family to investigate. Feel free. Elon Musk X platform is restricted explicit image creation. Damn it, no more porn late night. Bowing to pressure, the company said it would restrict X users from generating explicit images with real people in jurisdictions where such content is illegal. So X has bowed to censorship. Well, here's fake news from the Washington Post, ladies and gentlemen. And I like to bring you fake news every now and then just to expose the fraud that these people are. Fake news. Excuse me. So here's the fake news. All right. The Washington Post runs a story, and here's the headline. Trump's promised manufacturing boom is a bust so far. Manufacturing employment has declined every month since April, when the president said tariffs would bring factories roaring back. Okay. So the president has been president for 11 months. Almost 12 now. Another week it'll be 12 months. He's been president for a year. Manufacturing jobs require factories. Factories require planning, design, funding, approval, construction, completion, occupation, and then churning out things. That doesn't happen in a year. That doesn't happen in a year. It's ridiculous for the Washington Post to claim that Trump manufacturing boom hasn't happened, because it would not have happened yet. It will not happen for 18 months to 2 years before the first factories are approved and built. There's no way that the $20 trillion investment, unless it's in tech and it's just office space and they're doing, software stuff, that will bear out in new manufacturing jobs until 2 years down the road. This is a joke. This is not news. This is fake. Who wrote this crap? David Lynch. I thought he died. No, different David Lynch. Anyway, what a clown. Well, Timothy Busfield, the famous actor, saying elsewhere. Somber-faced Timothy Busfield appears in court for child sex abuse case, and he is denied bail. Ooh, they're coming for the Hollywoods. And his wife is nowhere to be found, Melissa Gilbert. Actor Timothy Busfield has appeared in New Mexico court looking stony-faced as he faces child sex abuse charges for the first time. The former West Wing star, 68 years of age, wore an orange prison jumpsuit as he stood before the judge with his hands clasped in front of him. Busfield's wife, Little House on the Prairie star Melissa Gilbert, was not seen inside the New Mexico courtroom during the arraignment. Bernalillo County Metropolitan Judge Felicia Believe Rivera told the Emmy Award-winning actor he would not be allowed bail during a brief 2-minute hearing. Prosecutors filed a motion on Wednesday seeking to prevent him from being granted bond as his case is transferred to a court. You will continue to be held without bond. Your next hearing will take place in the next 5 days. He's facing various felony charges, including 2 counts of sexually assaulting twin boys and a newly filed charge involving a 16-year-old female victim. Wednesday's hearing is the first time Busfield has been seen since he released a shocking video addressing the allegations. He's denied any wrongdoing, said the video shared with TMZ that he drove 2,000 miles to hand himself into police in Albuquerque on Saturday. I will confront these lies. They're all lies, and I did not do anything. I'm going to fight it with a great team, and I know I'm going to be exonerated. I know I am because this is all so wrong and all lies. As a voluntary step, he submitted an independent polygraph examination regarding his allegations and passed. The actor and producer was charged last week sexually assaulting twin boys on the series of the TV show The Cleaning Lady from 2022 and 2024. Then this week, he was accused of sexually abusing a 16-year-old girl while he was auditioning for a show. The alleged victim's father told police Busfield groped the aspiring actor several years ago at a theater he found in Sacramento. Well, several years ago, that statute of limitations. Huh. So, what is it with these Hollywood people and their sexual perversions? What is it with these clowns? Honestly, I don't understand it, these proclivities. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And there you have it, folks, the news for today, the 15th of January, 2026. The 3 breaking news stories I came up with earlier. U.S. government says that no eligible South African refugees have been denied to date. Not a single one, according to U.S. government sources. 120 South African refugees arrived in the United States today. 120. To my knowledge, that sets a record. And certainly 50% more, or 30%, or 33% more than the number of South Africans leave every day of their own accord. And also, you have a grievance process for refugees who are here. Please use it. White Western culture is valid. We have libraries accomplished. Must teach our babies to be shy. Hey, Devet. You've been interviewing lately for future publishing? Have I been interviewed lately? What does that mean, Shawnee? I don't understand that question. EU is in Brussels, 2/3 non-native. Looks like Congo, Brazzaville. Yeah, I've been to Brussels. That's what it looks like, Devet. Yeah, it's not the minerals. That's what they're talking about. It's just like Venezuela. It's not really the oil. Please just follow the Colonel. Stop following idiots. Thank you, Mike. I agree. Thank you for the super chat. Greenie's the goat. Okay? But we don't check if an American's Republican or Democrat when they arrive in South Africa. Who knows? Huh? Feel sorry for those ICE agents. These guys deal with some seriously crazy people. Saw some deluded women chasing down age and then crying and screaming she was just a mom. Yep. Colonel, could I have a brief WhatsApp chat with you about something I think important? Snippets, send me the note. Go ahead. I'll try to get to it. Just highlight it so I know what it is, okay? Lefties don't realize the path to hell is paved with good intentions. Yep. And Phoenix says, let's stop unloading our trauma on others. It's mostly exhausting and unfair. The Colonel, it's time to act like adults, be patient, embrace resilience, and choose to be survivors, not victims. No, Phoenix, look, I'm not complaining. That's what leaders do. Leaders absorb other people's pain. But I mean, the amount of pain that people are dumping on me is quite a bit. Quite a bit. I'm not complaining. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying that you have a process. You should pursue that first instead of freaking out. Okay. Colonel, please forgive the birthplace of the author. Tolerance. Well, Dostoevsky. Yeah, gotcha. Also, I do not think U.S. is scared of Southern politicians. Remember, they met, and I bet Trump was thinking, wow, the Cyril guy really has no clue. Yeah, that's exactly what he said. I was told at 21 years old to eat only raw fruit and vegetables. Okay. After a few months, I started eating normal. Okay, babyface. Not sure what that's about. Great to hear never under normal circumstances been denied. Yaku, that's correct. I'm guessing that excludes student visas. No, student visas don't apply. Work visas don't apply. And tourist visas don't apply. That's only for immigration. Please invest in sound equalizers. There's nothing wrong with my sound, Yvette Martins. Nothing wrong with it. Invest in sound equalizers. There's nothing wrong with my sound, Yvette Martins. Nothing wrong with it. Invest in sound. So you just heard the sound right there. There's nothing wrong with that sound. They should pick a Euro leader to fight J.D. Vance. Now, Greenland would become a territory, not a state. It's too small to be a state. It would be a territory. Devet is grateful President Trump won't take up the offer and wishes those who go best of luck. Well, that's a sound approach. Mark departed. He's been gone now for a bit. It's a push for 4 designated drivers years ago like EU, huh? Yes, Yaku, I think you may be right. President Trump is deflecting from what they're planning to do in Iran. It's all a PSYOP campaign. That could very well be the case. President Trump is doing a PSYOP campaign, but his reputation is tarnished by not taking action after promising. I'm the opinion if you attack Iran, you will rally up the Muslim Brotherhood together in Saudi Arabia, which can overflow in Pakistan. Okay. According to Tuesday, Iran's airspace has been locked down. I believe it's been reopened. Yeah, that was yesterday. They reopened it. It was closed last night for a couple hours. It's been reopened. Yep. Loose lips sink ships, but bad intel sinks entire careers. Put the snacks down. Stop the side talk. Pay attention. This isn't a knitting circle. It's a YouTube channel. You got to send me those, Mad Max. Those are great. Those are great. Okay, Shawnee, you'd asked me a question, and I was asking about it. I didn't see if you... Okay. Have you been interviewed lately by any news source or channels that will be printed or aired in the future? Oh, yes, I have. Yes, I have. I was interviewed by the largest newspaper in the world. Yep, I was interviewed by the largest newspaper in the world by circulation, folks. I was. And that newspaper is a Japanese newspaper, Yomiuri Shimbun. Yomiuri Shimbun, with a daily circulation of 5.9 million readers in print, not online, in print. They have 6 million readers who read it. They have 2 editions daily. 6 million people read this newspaper every day. I was interviewed for that publication on Tuesday for an article that's forthcoming. I don't know if it came out today. It will be in Japanese, but if I get a link to it, I will try to translate it, and I'll let you know about it. But yes, thank you, Shawnee. That's what you're talking about. I've been interviewed by the largest newspaper in the world. Meanwhile, hate-wagging trolls with 30 subscribers and can't string a sentence together are attacking me and calling me a federal agent. It's unbelievable. Stupid stuff. 120 arrived today, Casper. You heard correct. 120 arrived today. Where'd you get the 5 from? I did misspeak and say 140 after I got that super chat, but I didn't say 125. Did I? 174 billion spending package to divert the shutdown, clears key hurdle in Senate. Okay. There you go. That's good news. Okay, so then you had another question, Shawnee. I answered your question, Shawnee, in Minnesota. Yeah, I think in Hollywood we can get away with everything. I don't have an interview yet, but I'm getting my fingerprints taken. Okay, Rudy, congratulations. Thought there was Aurora. I have to ask through why no one is holding to the same standards as holding Trump. That's a good question, but the Shah has the Crown Prince has no authority, no forces, so there's not really much he can do. But he is stoking the chaos. Caster, how you doing? Are you looking forward to get? Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to it. It should be exciting. Also, I'll have a little bit of time for myself. I've booked a seat at the Dallas Stars game. Woohoo! Ice hockey. Now, they're not playing Vegas Golden Knights. I would be thrilled if playing Vegas Golden Knights, but I'll be there for the Dallas Stars game. Excuse me. While I'm in Texas. So I'll be going to that night before I fly out. So that'll be pretty cool. A little something for myself. That'll be fun. Ghost town after British American Tobacco closes down. Yep. Do you think USA will strike this even tomorrow? Well, Jared, it's possible. How many more days before Trump tells National Guard to correct Minnesota? Well, I think he needs to declare the Insurrection Act. He needs to do that, Shawnee. I'm with you 100%. Thank you for the news from my favorite YouTube content creators. Well, thank you, Quids. What was the interview about? Oh, well, the interview was about the refugee program, and they were very excited. They wrote back to me profusely, thanking me for clarifying things. I told them, I said, now, Yomiuri Shimbun is a pro-American, largely conservative publication. So, I mean, I'm speaking to an audience that drinks the same Kool-Aid. They were very grateful. I told them, I said, listen, you write what you want to write. I'm going to answer your questions. But let me tell you that this story has been falsely reported by the Washington Post, by the New York Times, by all South African media, by broadcast media, complete lies. And the journalist, the Japanese journalist who asked me, said, so can you tell me about this program that's reserved for white South Africans? I said, well, first off, that's why I need to tell you up front. You can write what you want, but I'm going to tell you the facts. And I'm going to tell you where to find the information. It's not a program for white South Africans. Yes, Afrikaners are prioritized. But other racial minorities are participating in the program and have come over. I've interviewed a color family who didn't want to come on camera. I've talked to Indians here. I've reached out and helped other colored families who have no interest in doing an interview, who've been not helped, like in Modesto, California. I have also interviewed a family that has black children. And so I told them that, and they were like shocked. I said, you don't have to believe me. Go to za.usmbc.gov. Look at the site. Since February 10th of 2025, it's clearly stated Afrikaners and racial minorities. And they have come over. It's not just window dressing. It's actually come to fruition. And so they were grateful to hear that. Now we'll see what they print. In addition to that, they had a number of false perceptions from what they've heard in other media. And they've been trying to find a source that can tell the truth about it. So I direct them to the place to get it. I also told I would give them the name. Oh, that's right, Martin. Okay, hang on a second. Forgot to do that. Martin von Staden. Okay. Let's see if this works. Hang on a second. I need to do this before I forget these people. Where's my damn email? There it is. Sorry, folks. Sorry. This is important. I got to do this. This is for everybody's benefit, not for me. So. Okay, good. All right, sorry about that, folks. That was important to take care of. Appreciate it. All right. Yeah, so what's your opinion of the possible government shutdown? It's possible, Casper. I said so before they even reached an agreement. I said it would be temporary, and by 31 January, we might be back in the same boat. But apparently some bill has gone through today. We'll see what happens. A person comes out publicly praising the U.S. as a refugee, participating in a refugee program is putting their family and friends at risk, in my opinion. Well, Jacques, the more people come forward, the harder it is to do this. There isn't the energy to go after all these people. So while you make that statement, your statement is trying to suppress people from doing it, whether that's your intent or not. The more people come forward and express what's happened. But some of these families, such horrific things that happen to them, they have nothing to lose. Like the Stoltz family, what happened to them. I watched the first episode, Jan, and of Belofteland, and it's Brandy Wells is now following. Hey, Brandy, welcome. I watched the first episode of Belofteland, and I have to say that that the intellectuals from the Afrikaans speaking community that they brought on were pretty full of themselves for the most part. There were a couple exceptions, and they're very disconnected from reality. They have no idea what the hell's going on in South Africa. They really don't. They don't. They live behind walls and palaces. I also liked what Rion did from the approach he was talking about what an Afrikaner is, because I've been talking about this for a long time, and I get attacked by right-wingers when I say that Afrikaners can be people who are culturally aligned with Afrikaans regardless of their skin pigmentation. No, they can't. They have to be white. Okay, well, if you speak Afrikaans and you're Dutch Calvinist and you believe in the values of faith, family, and firearms and community like Afrikaners do, and you sing Afrikaans songs and you have an Afrikaner heritage and you fought alongside them to chase some Zilakazi back out of your neighborhood, whatever. So that part. But I had some serious reservations about some of the stuff in the first episode, a serious effort to downplay the crime. But then in the same first episode, they interview a woman whose husband was murdered. And then they interview this colored family that lost 2 of their kids in drive-by shootings, and it's heartbreaking. I will watch the second episode, which is out now when I get a chance, but I can't do everything. It takes time. So that's my initial thoughts on that. Is Ice Watch not illegal? No, but its actions are illegal, so they should be in trouble. Ignore the idiots, always criticize, find fault, keep on speaking out. No, but you have to refute the nonsense, the lies. Like this idiot who accused me of, why is he obsessed with South Africa? Why does he report on America? I do, dumbass. Do you not watch my program? You're just a fool. You watch a couple prepared videos that are on South Africa and you ignore all the content. I have an entire channel devoted to the United States. I have a Twitter account that's mostly devoted to the United States. And I report on what I want to report. So, that guy can foot sec. Whoops. My son adopted 2 kittens, 8 weeks. Okay. Luckily, you remembered to send your email now, Colonel. Yep. Did you guys see Thea's husband's interview? He released her with love. He released her with love. I thought he didn't know she left. How can he release her with love when he didn't know she left? Operation Argon, okay. And Rudolph is saying they feels it's better, or no, sorry, Phoenix says better that people, what's this? Okay, do they notify you if you're not eligible for refugee status or just skip over you? If you have not eligible, oh, that's actually a good question, Arnold. That's a good question. You get notified if you're not eligible. Well, I don't know, but it should be self-evident. If you don't meet the criteria, which on the website, why are you applying? I don't know. I'll try to ask that question. That's a good question, Arnold. That's a very good question. One that, I've never asked because to me it's self-evident. I don't need somebody to, if I can't apply for a refugee program. I don't meet the criteria. Ludicrous for me to even try, but all right, that's a good one. Thank you, Arnold. That's a very good question. One that's to me is self-evident, but not to everybody. Okay, what else? Don't know if you received my message, if you have time. Okay, and you called me as well. Did you not? You're one of the 37 people who called me in the middle of the night last night. Or I may have been mistaken. I don't want to falsely attribute that. But I received 37 phone calls in the middle of the night when I'm supposed to be sleeping by South Africans who just feel it's okay to just call me when they want. Yeah, that's why my phone is on silent. This is constant voice. If you weren't one of the people who called me, Anna, then I apologize. I just thought you were. I have this constant voice that's ringing in my head. I think I was run over by a truck. Oh, that's crazy. I love your channel. I've watched 90% of all Southern videos. Thank you for all your. You're welcome, Odine's Skuman. Telegraph writes, veterans age 65 told to prepare for war. Veterans where? Where? Now, if that doesn't helpful, where veterans where? Where? In Ukraine? Yeah. When will we know if there's a shutdown? When it happens, Tanya. Past shutdowns have been avoided up to minutes before they shut down. It's not like a scheduled event. I will tell you right now, shutdown, January 31st. There you go. Shutdown, January 31st. Unless an agreement is reached before then. So there's a shutdown coming. Yep. Yeah, pre-screening will kick out the non-eligible. Exactly. So that's when they should have known. I'm eligible, but I have a case of reckless and negligence against me. Accident wasn't on purpose. That's why I asked. Yeah, Arnold, I don't know whether that case has any bearing on whether you go or not. But thanks for asking. No, but okay, but Arnold, no, okay, I understand where you're coming from. It just dawned on me where you're going. Well, Shelly, I just had my phone was on silent. I went to bed at 2:30, 3 o'clock and got up at 7. So, oh, the UK government. That's what it is. Okay. Cheryl Barnston says, I respect your opinion, Colonel. Your analysis of how the future scares me. Is there any way South Africa can be turned around? It can. I can turn South Africa around in 90 days. Absolutely. Dissolve parliament and let me rule as a benign dictator, and I will eliminate 145 race-based laws. I will eliminate all sorts of things, and we will begin a massive investment program into law enforcement. We will train police to be law enforcement officials, community policing officials. Now, that's a long-term thing. I'll also sack the entire Ministry of Education and start fresh with people who actually understand leadership and education and go from there. And those people exist in South Africa. Yep. Invest in education properly instead of pissing money down the drain like they're doing now. Stop the nonsense, the renaming, waste of effort, renaming places that were never settled by the Nguni-speaking peoples, that were settled by Europeans. And this racial revenge and renaming places is absolutely idiotic. I'll stop that too. Yep. Then we will reach out to the United States, the World Bank, the IMF, the African Development Bank, to invest in South Africa. We will eliminate all these racist policies for equity and allow companies to flood into South Africa from the West, not from China or India, but from the West, who bring value to South Africa and improve the beneficiation value chain of South African products. That's what I will do. I will also immediately negotiate the tariffs down to zero by removing all of these ridiculous barriers to U.S. trade. There's no reason whatsoever that U.S. should not be allowed to ship as many cars as it wants to South Africa, given that you're allowing India and China to ship as many cars as they want. If you're protecting your car market, then you will have quotas on China and India, not just on America. That's malicious. Been to the States for 20 years, never clashed law enforcement, always passed my visa and never stayed. Okay, well, that's great, Hannes. Good to hear from you again. Okay, half population will be in prison if law enforcement were effective. Arnold says, thank you. We'd be lost without you. I understand you don't always have all the answers. Well, I usually have the answers, though, don't I, Arnold? I have the answers almost to everything, don't I? It's pretty good, huh? Never late, says Kathleen. And then Odine Schoolman gave a 14 Rand super sticker. Thank you. First super chat. Chaos Jugger says, how you doing? Went for the second interview. Did not know that the interview of the kids together with us. Yep. No, the whole family's usually there from what I understand. That's what I understand. You have no idea how many days you gave me new hope without having to speak to me in person. Thank you. You're welcome to Reddit. It's my pleasure, and I hope that I can give people hope. Whether they live in South Africa, or they live in Nepal, like Authentic Max. Miss him. I haven't seen him in years. The idea of you taking over South Africa sounds utopia. Divine music. My ear, says Ingrid. What's your take on Newsmax? I follow Carl Higbee and David Harris. I find Newsmax's approach to be not visually appealing, and also find a lot of echo chamber stuff there. I tried watching it. It really couldn't do it. One American News, same thing. Couldn't really watch it. Nothing against them. I appreciate what they're doing, and I'm not speaking against any of their content creators. I'm just saying that I tried to watch both of them. They really didn't do it for me. So I'll say that Byron, now also a Secret Service agent for the Jewish. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it's these slander people are going to wind up being sorry for their actions. When you slander someone and do this character assassination, it comes back to bite you in the ass. What is that card we can get to put money on to build credit rating? Well, Toothless Wonder, we're talking about prepaid debit cards, prepaid credit cards. You get them at Walmart. You just walk in, you can get them. Yep. You put money on them right away. Yep. Piece of cake. Yep. They have like American Express, Visa, MasterCard. I would get a Visa if I were you, and get it. And once you have a Social Security number, and you're paying that thing off every time. You put money on it, it'll build credit. A proper credit card builds it faster, but that'll show that you're responsible. Background check failed. My background check. I have no idea. Okay, World Church Services doesn't do your background check, so it couldn't have failed a World Church Services background check. That's impossible, Hannes. They don't do your background check. USCIS does your background check. They do your background check. Yep. Anyway, what about Cape Town and Joburg? What are you asking there, Tom Hawk? Feedback about your prints will be done by Saturday 24th. Pop, your WhatsApp time is perfect. Oh yeah, for the day after Julius Malema's decision. By the way, yeah, so the 23rd, that's on a Friday. I didn't realize that. That's good. Because I'll try to live stream that. Yeah, Friday the 23rd, his judgment will come out. They're not going to hurt him. They're not going to hurt Malema. He'll be some mealy mouse thing. He'll be, a fine or something like that after endangering public safety. Oh, yeah. Well, I'll have other attorneys offer to do things pro bono. I don't want to burden them with this because this is never anything once you start it. Colin de Bruyne says, thank you for everything you do and putting the facts on the table. You appreciate it. Thank you so much for that. Anna Kruger, you're back. I thought you disappeared. Yep. Toyota Camry or Toyota Avalon? Good question. I've never driven an Avalon. I've driven a Camry. It's a reliable car. I don't know, James. Don't know. Avalon's more of a newer model, isn't it? Camry's been around for decades. Never what? Never left? Why do you say not to depend on my case website? Well, mental chewing gum, you obviously missing an awful lot of what I say. Because it really shouldn't be shared with you. The portal is useless. You people get yourselves all spun up in a tizzy over nothing. Oh, my security was complete. Now it's open again. What happened? Oh my God. Oh, the medicals are reopening again. It's not for you. As I said in a previous video, investigations are ongoing. The investigations of the refugees who came to America aren't over. Many of their cases are still open because something might have come up in their investigation, even though they're over here. They've been vetted fully, but that doesn't mean we stop. The 233,000 refugees who came over here during the Biden regime, every one of their cases are now being reviewed. So the portal is a place for the people working your case to see what's going on and for the people reviewing it to see the status of it. It's not really meant for you, even though they share it with you. That's dumb. They never should have told you about it because all you do is get excited and spun up into the ceiling over something. I'm an investigator. I submit my preliminary report. They find no derogatory information. The adjudicator says, okay, we can approve this person. Meanwhile, I've sent out information that may not be anything, requesting information from this place over here. And I suddenly get this. Ooh. Convicted of spousal abuse in 1997. So I go in the portal. Case open. Reopen. And now you're freaking out. So I investigate this while your portal stays open. 3 or 4 weeks. And I get investigators on the ground. We check into this. Only to find out you had a bitter ex who falsely accused you of beating your ex. You went to court. The case was dismissed. There's no merit to it. Not a conviction. Falsely reported. Now we can close your case again. Stop focusing on this stuff. I'm not making videos on that, Tanya. I've already done it. People can't be bothered to go watch what I've already done. I'm tired of repeating work that I've done over and over again. People either come watch the lives and hear what I say or come to Refugee Cafe Clutch or watch the videos I produced. It's very frustrating. I make a video and 6,000 people watch it and then 8,000 people ask me to make a video about the same thing. It's not fair. Hey, Bev. Been raining tickets today. 15 January was indeed your prediction. Thank you so much for all you do. Okay. Well, I'm not sure what you mean 15 January was my prediction. I predicted 5 January that they would resume refugees and then it would pick up pace in January, probably by the middle of January. Maybe that's what you're referring to. I said probably by the middle of January, the number of people coming over will astound us. 120 today. 120 refugees today. If you look at the ideology of government double standards when applying law, then you realize nothing will happen to Malema. Agreed. I'll be shocked if anything happens to him. Yep, it's the same Discord. That's why I don't have it. That's why the WhatsApp groups that I created are one-way communication. You cannot communicate in them because I knew that's exactly what that'll happen. Hannes, okay, I'm glad. You're welcome, Hannes. I hope whatever's going on with yours gets sorted out because your case doesn't make any sense to me. There must be something that's just hanging out there that they're trying to deal with. I don't know. That's why my refugee groups are one-way communication because I knew this nonsense would happen. I mean, look, this is not my first rodeo. I've dealt with this kind of crap before, and I know how people behave. What has surprised me is just the number of people from a community that I've always thought was pretty self-reliant are not self-reliant, who need their hands held, who need to be coddled and carried along. The number, I thought a few, but the number is shockingly high to me. I'm really surprised by that, honestly. Covered a kit, but there are many who don't have endless Wi-Fi data to watch all. Okay, you just lead your message. Okay, I get you don't have endless Wi-Fi, but then the argument for you make yet another video just reinforces the argument you're making. You don't have endless Wi-Fi. So if I make another video, then you go watch that. That's more to watch. I've covered this stuff. (2007) 2.5 with 4-cylinder hybrid Camry is bulletproof. Avalon also falls in that category. 3.5 liter V6. I'd prefer that 3.5 liter engine. Sumery, so how did it go? Yeah, that's why I didn't do anything in Discord. I haven't gone in there since I was asked to join that group. Mr. Vibe says, thanks for putting up with us. Well, yeah, it's what leaders do, man. They deal with things. I got to sneeze. They know a lot more about you than you think by the time you go to the UCS interview. Damn. Whew. Equalize the pressure in my cranium now by blocking that sneeze. They know a lot more about you than you think, so by the time you go to the interview, they're just basically confirming what they know. Exactly. My name, Dietrich, what's my opinion? Well, I mean, I don't know. It's a fair question. I'll answer it since you've come to watch the live. But, I mean, watching my videos would be good. I mean, let's see. I've done 1, 2, 3, 4 specific videos in the past few days on the naval exercise. My opinion is it's a provocative step by the ANC government to antagonize the Americans, and they try to backtrack at the last minute, not realizing the damage they've done to their reputation, their relationship. But the United States has taken no steps against Iran, and they're not going to take any steps, or not against South Africa for this misstep, and they're not going to. But South Africa will lie and say the United States is being aggressive. It's the ANC that's being aggressive here. There's no reason whatsoever for a terrorist organization, not a state-sponsored terrorist, which Iran is, but the Iranian Revolutionary Guard is a terrorist organization, designated terrorist organization, and their ships are in False Bay. So the South African government does naval exercises with terrorists. That's the bottom line here. And how does that look in Washington and in Berlin and in London and Paris? It doesn't look very good. That's my take on that. Joey says, I gave up my case because it just causes stress and negativity. Exactly. Stop watching it. Right, RVC. That's why there's playlists. There are playlists of these videos. Loretta says, too many people want to be spoon-fed. Yep. Thank you guys for the bless you. Nobody said Gesundheit. Not even Gerd. That's why I left the groups. Exactly, Desert Roses. They're just toxic. Mad Max says, Colonel spent 30 years in military intelligence, means he can find a needle in a haystack, but he still can't find your name in the subscriber list. That's good. There was this one time in UK I had to face a magistrate in England for a traffic violation, tax related. Well, I wouldn't lose any sleep over that. There's Shylock. He said, Gesundheit. Thank you. Atuswe. Yeah. So, yeah, that's just the reality of this stuff. I'm researching cheap, economical, reliable cars from beginning until the finances allow for a better car. Well, James, it's every car is dependable. I mean, it depends on the car. You know, you could get a car that some little old lady in Pasadena drove and it works fantastic. You know, it has 10,000 miles on it and you get a good price on it. Or you could buy, you know, what you think is a great car because that car has performed well, but somebody rode it hard and it falls apart on you right after you buy it. So you just have to be very, very judicious about what you buy. I don't buy used cars. I stopped buying used cars. The last used car I bought was in 1987. In 1987, when I left the Army, went back to university, I bought a Volkswagen Passat because I knew Volkswagen and I trusted Volkswagen. And it was a good car, but I had problems and it hurt me badly on Christmas night. I had to work Christmas night. at the radio station in Pomeroy, Ohio. And when I left there, it was snowing. And in a snowstorm, my alternator belt was slipping and I was running off the battery. And I barely got to a point where I could get the car to roll it down a hill, get on the highway and roll down a hill to get to a petrol station, and left it there. My sister was living in that town, which was about an hour from where I lived at. My sister came and picked me up, and I spent the night at my sister's house, and I had someone fix the alternator, put a new belt on it the next day. But that wasn't fun. Yeah, but that was a used car, buying other people's problems. I mean, I know and I didn't have much money. I was a college student, so that's what I had. While in college, I bought a brand new car because of that. The next year, before I left university, in my senior year, I bought a Pontiac Le Mans, which was really just a Daewoo rebrand. It was an Opel Rekord, same body frame, same style, built in Korea by Daewoo and with a label of General Motors on it. And that's the car. I got rid of the Volkswagen eventually. I sold that, and then I took that car across the country. That car was pretty good until I got hit, ironically, by an Iranian diplomat. What is the irony of this? In 1992, I was rear-ended by an Iranian diplomat on the A3 Autobahn after I successfully stopped my vehicle behind a multi-car pileup because I was following at a safe distance, applied my brakes safely on the surface, and stopped completely, only to be rear-ended by an Iranian diplomat who ignored my flashing warning lights, hazard lights that I put on as I slowed down. He was driving fast, rear-ended me, going over 100 kilometers an hour, threw me forward. When I was thrown forward, I was happening to look to the right, and I watched the stereo come flying out of the dash and hang out, and I hit the vehicle in front of me, smashed my front end up. Now, I drove away from the scene, but the damage to my vehicle, the insurance company said, was too great. It wasn't worth repairing because the car, which I bought for $8,000, in their view, was only worth $1,500, and the repair it would have cost $4,000. So they totaled it, and I had a second car, fortunately. I had my Honda CRX, and I used that for 2 years while I saved money to buy my Volvo. Yep, I don't buy used cars. Diedrich Harris, well, it's very kind of you to say. I appreciate that. I meet lots of people. Yep, it was a write-off, yeah. And so I love how people say insurance, but insurance didn't make me whole. I had insurance. I wasn't at fault. I had a perfectly safe, reliable car to drive. And I left that place with a car I could never use again. And so for 2 years, I didn't have a car that I needed. And my car was destroyed. I didn't make any money off that. I lost money. I had to pay off the loan. And after paying off the loan, I had nothing. How am I supposed to get another car? That's ridiculous. Yes, it was an Iranian diplomat. Yep. He got out of the car and he pretended not to speak German. And he pretended not to speak English. He refused to speak German or English, but he was an Iranian diplomat. I later got the statement, which was written in English, which he gave to the Germans. And it said that he was not warned because I failed to warn him. But when the police arrived, my four waves were still flashing on the car. Well, I have a V8. I have a 4.7 liter Toyota 4Runner V8. Yep. Yeah, it helps, but it doesn't make you whole. Yep. Irony indeed, it is. Yeah, James. Very ironic that an Iranian diplomat rear-ended me on the Autobahn. In the 90s, Opel was fantastic, but now who knows? Rudisheim, who builds that stuff? It's not American anymore. What's this? I don't think many people understand how knowledgeable the Colonel is. His experience, which not many people can fathom. Colonel Wyatt is well-informed, honest, and genuine as reporting. Thank you for that, Wills. Yeah, and we could talk about the macadamia nut industry. We can talk about Vikings. We can talk about the Constantinople. We can talk about Macedonia. We can talk about ancient Egypt. We can talk about Dahomey, the worst slave trading empire in the history of mankind. We can talk about the Arab slave trade. We can talk about the Voortrekkers. We can talk about the German settlement in Namibia. We can talk about macroeconomics. We can talk about Argentina's currency collapse in the 1980s. We can talk about the Perones. We can talk about, you name it. Most topics I know something about. I'm not boasting, it's just a statement of fact. And that's why a lot of people find this channel appealing. Meanwhile, turds try to attack me who know nothing, and all they do is attack me. Why do these people have to make content off my content? If you've got something to say it. If you've got a statement, if you've got a prediction, make it. Don't steal my content or attack me to become famous. It's just pathetic. If USA supports the people of the country, how can a person contribute? I don't understand your question, Lord. Of what country? Cyberhawk, you're welcome. Yeah, Andres, I know what you're confirming, but this is not a story that should be told. This is not something people should be talking about. It's not, because it'll backfire. Let me tell you why. All it takes is for one hate wanker in South Africa to raise a stink about this. And then European carriers back out, and then less people come. So people should shut their mouths. So I've known about what you're talking about for ages, that it was a possibility and a likelihood. And then when it became a reality, yes. But I'm not reporting on it because malicious people will undermine it. You have to use good judgment, which is not being done here. You shouldn't even be talking about this. Let it go. They even knew my husband's childhood nickname. Yep. And Husigi says not all of us might have a few freaks out there, but definitely self-reliant. Hope you made contact with the person I referred. I did, Mad Max. I spoke to that person last night and gave them some advice about their pending trip. And also that person has agreed to do an interview when they arrive. And I know where that person's going now. Yep. Tom Muck says, Ek praat moet. Okay. Oh, great, Garrett. I'm glad to hear the bees are doing well, at least in Somerset West. You will win. Who wants to be a millionaire? Easy peasy. No, probably not. I probably messed that up. Whoops. Oh, I thought my phone was flashing. Anyway. Yeah. And you guys forget, it's not just this I'm doing. You know, I'm doing my business, my consulting. I'm still writing things. Also volunteering for the Veterans Organization. I had to go in there again yesterday to sign checks and to deal with issues and also to receive payment for something we just done and then authorize another payment. So yeah, I also had to do a job announcement. I mean, these aren't even my jobs, but we don't have the people working for the organization that are capable of doing it right now. So I wind up doing it. I wrote a job description for a line cook. I mean, I don't hire line cooks, but I did, and it's pretty darn good. And we're trying to get cooks. And now I've got an announcement that goes out next week to hire a new manager. Yep. Don't rub outward, rub inward. Give myself wrinkles. Okay. All right. The other guy with the big nostrils in the old man's place, don't know what his name is. Paid scene has the Uber Eats. VW Beetle. I've never had a Maikäfer. That's a Maikäfer in a Maybug in German. Would love to have such knowledge, Carlos. Would easily put people in their place with facts, which is what I do. I mean, these people attack me and I just destroy them. It's fun to see that one guy say he would love to debate Rob Hersoff. Really? Dude, you have nothing but shame and hyperbole. And, anyway. You know who I haven't seen in a few days? Arctic. I'm going to slip away and get a Frappuccino because Arctic isn't here. That would be funny. All right, let's see if anything's broken while I've been here. Let me see this one here. How did that one do? So let me get my videos here. So it's been up now for a couple hours at least. Was I put up just before this? Not many views. What's with the chart? Come on, oh, there it is. It's actually performing below. It's only 5,400 views, 3 subscribers. Wow, I'm surprised by that. It's not going to go very far. Deny refugee status. Apparently that's not such big breaking news. Not such big breaking news, apparently, as I thought it might be. Oh, well. Anyway. I take it there now, most likely first moving through. That's an assumption, Loretta. I have no idea. No idea. I don't have any information on that. It's not an unreasonable assumption, but it's an assumption on your part, and I can't verify it because I don't know. I don't know. And even if they told me they were doing it, I don't know if I would trust that statement. Just saying. We're just saying. Yep. So, anyway. Briefly mention me on the denials? Really? Jeez. Or is that there's something the other day that they did. Is this new? Let's see. I don't see anything here on briefly. Let's see if they don't even have, they have a search button. Let's see what turns up on briefly. Nope. Last thing was 6 days ago by Narisa. Oh, 2 days ago by Narisa. Nothing today. Yep. No, there's nothing there. I don't see anything. What happened with your 702? Well, it's not my 702 interview. I don't have an interview with 702. No, I was asked on 702 3 years ago, and I talked to the guy there, and they never followed through. That was 3 years ago. No, I don't have an interview with 702. That was someone else that had an interview. Well, yeah, even if all 400 of you go watch it after this, that's just going to jump a little bit. I mean, I'm expecting that video to have 100,000 views. It's not. Big news to me. If I were betting, I'd say it would raise my odds of going over, says James. Okay. No, 2 days ago, Shylock. I saw 2 days ago. Yeah. I think everyone is running around like me, packing up our lives. Worked hard for 40 years, but on Sunday I'll be homeless. Oh, good Lord, on the move. Uncle in Texas has gone full-on hardcore cowboy. No update on Maduro. No update on the contempt of Congress for the Clintons. So no update on either one of those stories. I was looking for something both those. Couldn't find anything. We'll see what happens. Trump unveiled the great healthcare plan, assuming you'll want to do analysis before you give an opinion on it. Really? I didn't see that anywhere in the news this morning. Great healthcare plan. Yeah, I'll have to analyze it because there's no mention of it. Here they talk about ICE in Minnesota. They talk about European troops in Greenland. I see nothing here. Let me go to the Wall Street Journal. That's a ostensibly business publication. But they're not really. Let's see what they do. Nope, no mention of it there. There was nothing in the New York Times. I don't know where you found that information at. Thank you, Mad Max. Let's see what that is. Israel and Arab nations urge Trump to postpone attack on Iran. Interesting. Oh, it sounds like it's raining or snowing. Iran's leader, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel's leader, has asked President Trump to postpone the attack on Iran. Arab nations already urged Trump not to attack Iran. There you go. Wow. So Arab and Israeli are both united in asking Trump not to attack Tehran. Interesting. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has asked President Trump to postpone any plans for an attack. Wow. That's in addition to Arab nations. So maybe that's why he backed down. I don't know. All right, let's get to the super chat that we got from Mad Max there. Hey, Anna. What's this? When was this? Is this today? General Dumisani Kumalo says after analysis was found the entire SAPS Haoteng is working for the cartel. What? Is that true? Let's take a look at this. I'll explain why what's his name was murdered. This is crazy. Let me go ahead and get some stuff set up here so I can do this. That's the first thing I need to get up. Next thing I need to get set up is this. There we go. All right.
Support that the PKTT gave to the GCI ops. It was a one-day operation when the combat teams had to come in. The reason for that, during the analysis and the threat and risk assessment, it had come out that almost the whole of SAPS in Gauteng is working for the cartel. So hence then we had to get the combat team even from the PKTT, and even the special task force that we used for that operation was not from Gauteng province, but was from outside Gauteng province. That is the operation of the 6th. So the PKTT...
So he's saying the entire Gauteng Police Department is on the payroll of the cartels. Wow. Charles says the Danes are freaking about Greenland, shocked by one of them speaking to him personally. To who personally? Europeans have lost it. They have. And Garrett's right. The naval exercise is just a fraternizing thing. They're not doing anything successful. There's no interoperability there. Keep moving the shelter by the end of this month. Keep the faith. What doesn't break us makes us stronger. How do all the gangs get guns? From the cops. It's not even shocking. Yep. Now come and tell me again that the police not involved with farm murders. Well, yeah, exactly, they are. Caroline will be short live about a rancher. Okay. All right, my refugee question. Why didn't you report this incident of racism to the police? I answered, our police make people disappear. Good response, Virtual Western Cape. Good response. You could say because the police haven't solved the Brendan murder terrorism case. Yep. BAT is British American Tobacco. Ooh, Topi. Okay, let me go see about that video. Let me go pull that one up. Let's see if I can find that real quick. Where's the news at? There it is. We'll go to the White House. Is he still alive? I am a member. What are you talking about? Okay, it's not yet. All right, so I've got her up now. So Carolyn Levitt, I got it up. And as soon as she comes live, we'll go with it. Make sure the sound is on, okay? So, that's not what I wanted. I want this. There we go. All right, so if Carolyn Levitt goes live while I'm still live here shortly, then I'll go live with that. I was going to wrap it up. We'll see what she's got to say, at least for a little bit. Kathleen, can't wait for snow. Diedrich Harris asked about Big Springboks Port. Yes, I am. I'm well known for that. Have been since 1982. Yep. Oh, what happened here? My tab crashed. Freaking YouTube. All right. Very big Springbok supporter. Have been for a very long time. Senzo Mkuda is set to resign. Well, good. That's a good start. SAP sent me a SMS, case closed due to insufficient evidence and video footage was given. Providing 200 pages, the file was empty. Yep. I asked my attackers still there and to call them when they are back. Spoke with a Dane today. They're all suffering. Oh, you mean spoke to a private individual? Yeah, whatever. Denmark has done nothing for us. They rolled over and gave up to the Nazis, and we had to defend Greenland when they were cowards. Yep. Yeah. Yep. I'm looking to see if I missed anything here from you guys. Gosh, my stomach keeps making noises. Yeah, Arctic hasn't been here for a couple days, so it's time for frappuccinos. But some of you are narcs. You'll tell him. Gonna braai this weekend, Colonel? No, I'm not gonna braai. It's temperature's dropping, and the current temperature is 26 degrees. It's below freezing outside. I'm not braaiing in freezing weather. Also, I haven't braaied once since I've been here, I don't think. I have a grill, and I have all the stuff in the garage, but I haven't done anything. Francois Ferrer, thank you for membership upgrade. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate that. I was just shocked at the level of vitriol that came out of his mouth. They are delusional. Absolutely delusional. Yeah, rugby starting tomorrow, folks. The Bulls are on tomorrow. Good question while we wait for Carolyn Levitt. Yeah, the Bulls are on tomorrow. And then we've got The Stormers play Leicester on Saturday. Let me just get to the schedule here. So it's still the Champions Cup and the Challenge Cup. God bless it. Stop making all that noise. All right. Let's see. We are at tomorrow is the 16th. The Bulls are on the road in France at Aquitaine playing Palois at 3 p.m. my time. So that's going to be 10 o'clock South African time. That's late for South Africans, but I'll have that on Rugby Ascendant. We'll see how the Bulls do tomorrow. Then Saturday, it's going to be the Sharks at home against ASM Rugby at 8 o'clock my time. So that's going to be 3 p.m. South Africa time. The Stormers at 10:15 against Leicester in Cape Town. So they should win that game and advance. And that's 10:15, so that's going to be 5:15 South Africa time. The Lions are on at 12:30 against Perpignan in France, in Aquitaine, so they're going to be there. 12:30, that's going to be 7:30 South Africa time. So 1 Friday, 3 Saturday. The Cheetahs are playing on Sunday, I think it is. Or are they playing? Let me see. Yes, they play Racing 92 on Sunday late. I don't know if I'll cover that game. Maybe. We'll see. Where are they playing at? They're at Racing, I think. Yeah, they're in Paris, so that'll be played. But the Cheetahs were eliminated by their stupid rules in EPCR. I don't know how pregnant she is, but she's definitely pregnant. Barbie's got to go. All the arm response companies popped up to fill the void that SAPs leave. Arm response should be tax deductible. Yep. Buffets, no such thing as an Amish buffet. Never heard of such a thing. There are Amish people near me, but mostly Mennonites. The Amish are on the other side of the river. Pentagon Pizza indicates so far they've called it every time. Apparently pizza order is up today, which should indicate something big. Oh, yeah. No. I don't need the press to tell me about that. I worked in the Pentagon. I know that when the parking lot stays full after 7 p.m., when the parking lot stays full, and we're talking about tens of thousands of cars out there. When the parking lot stays full after 7 p.m. and pizza orders come in, yeah, that's right. Yeah, so something's amiss. Something's up. Yep. Trump may just do what he wants to do. Who knows? We'll see. Josh Mercevi. Okay. Oh, glad to join Alec Hogue to discuss. I talked about, yeah, so government frequently use moral language. Yeah, that's Josh Mercevi. So, yep. So he's talking about his appearance on Biz News. Yep, he was on my program first, then Biz News got him. I enjoyed that conversation. I've had some big names on the channel of late, which is pretty cool. No reason not to bribe because of cold weather. Oh, sure there is. Wind can be quite brutal. Off top, may I ask if you could address foot mouth? Brandon, Baron Jacobs, you're very late. I've talked about this endlessly early in the program. I've also done videos. I've also interviewed Teodoro Diaga about it. I tried to get John Steenhuisen last year in April. He refused to come on. He said he would, then he didn't. Asked in May. They just ignored me in May. Typical Steenhuisen behavior. It's a government-created crisis, and I won't be eating South African beef for the next 10 years. Trust me. Not happening. Correct. Mennonites use modern conveniences like electricity and automobiles, and they also perform work. They build houses around here for commercial developers. They do other work. The Amish do not. I just wanted to make sure about the hoodie size. Collection of your prints and time of leaving. I don't know what that means. Apocalypse Ninja. Hoodie size XX large. I think only mods can share links. No. I have no idea what you're talking about, Vander Kruger, about dog foods and a link. I don't know what that's about. No, Uganda elections are today, but nothing's happening. Let me look and see real quick. There was no, it may be on like Al Jazeera or something like that. Maybe it's on there. Let's see if anybody's reporting on it. Reuters. Yep. There's no results yet. Yeah. So nothing coming from that. Ugandan television was on earlier, live. Let's see what they had to say. It's still live.
In our democratic journey, we wish to extend our appreciation to all stakeholders in the electoral process, including the electorate, the government of Uganda, which has fully funded this electoral process, political parties, civil society organizations, the media, development partners, security agencies, observers, religious and cultural leaders, the media in particular, for their invaluable support and contribution to these activities. Once again, the Commission would like to congratulate all Ugandans upon the successful conduct of these elections, and more so for the exemplary conduct you have exhibited despite the challenges that were encountered earlier on in the day. We urge you to do the same in the upcoming elections for local government. We want to appeal to all the candidates, their supporters and agents, and the general public to maintain peace and public order during the counting, the tallying, and declaration processes, and beyond.
Boring. 6,000 people watching. It's been on for 8 hours. And Pockets Ninja sent a WhatsApp. Okay. Oh, John B. Wells is posted. Oh, it sounds like we got Carolyn.
Good afternoon, everybody. A packed room today. Thank you all for coming. President Trump is making America affordable again through his proven economic formula of powerful tariffs, fair trade deals, massive middle-class tax cuts, energy dominance, and aggressive deregulation. The overwhelmingly positive economic data released this week underscores the significant progress the president has already delivered.
There is no great health plan announced, Charlie. No media outlet has it.
The latest confirmation that President Trump has defeated Joe Biden's inflation crisis. Since President Trump took office, core CPI has increased at just a 2.4% annualized rate, substantially lower than the 3.3% annual rate inherited from the Biden administration last January. Importantly, as inflation cools, Americans' wages are rising, giving the American people more purchasing power. And with what is likely going to be a record-breaking tax refund season in the next couple of weeks, the American people will be reaping the rewards of the massive tax cuts that were signed into law by the president. Thanks to President Trump's signing of no tax on tips, overtime, Social Security, boosting the child tax credit, and locking in the 2017 Trump tax cuts, independent estimates project the average American tax filer could expect up to an extra $1,000 bump to their tax refund next year. This is going to be a helpful boost to working families who are making ends meet. On the energy front, the national average price for a gallon of regular gas this week fell to its lowest level in 5 years, thanks to President Trump's drill baby drill agenda. According to Gas Buddy, the average price for regular gas on Monday was below $3 per gallon in 43 states, below $2.75 per gallon in 30 states, and at or below $2.50 per gallon in 17 states. In fact, gas prices were below $2 a gallon at stations in at least 19 states. Don't forget, this was unheard of just a couple of short years ago. Overall, drivers are projected to spend $11 billion less at the gas pump this year than they did last year, resulting in hundreds of dollars in critical savings for the average American family. We're also seeing the housing market rebound as borrowing costs ease and income growth outpaces home price gains. According to a new report also released this week from the National Association of Realtors, existing home sales in December rose to their fastest pace in 3 years. To further improve housing affordability, President Trump has recently announced and directed Fannie and Freddie to purchase $200 billion worth of mortgage bonds. As a result of these actions, mortgage rates have fallen to their lowest level in years. As of last Friday, rates for the average 30-year mortgage are down more than 1 full percentage point. Because of these significant declines, monthly housing payments are now at their lowest level in 2 years, and we expect this decrease to continue. As someone who was enormously successful in real estate, President Trump understands that owning a home is about more than just having a physical asset. It's about empowering young people to stake their claim in the American dream. It's about giving newlyweds a place to make their own and start a family. It's about promoting the spirit of hard work, determination, and yes, the rugged individualism that has made America the greatest country in the history of the world. President Trump knows America is strongest when it's a nation of owners, not renters, and he is determined to unlock that opportunity for as many Americans as possible. That's why he will outline additional housing initiatives during his major speech in Davos next week, and we look forward to seeing many of you there. Finally, this morning, President Trump unveiled a healthcare plan for America called the Great Healthcare Plan, and a video message detailing his solutions to lower costs for all Americans and significantly improve our healthcare system. The Great Healthcare Plan will accomplish this through 4 common sense pillars. Number 1, permanently lowering prescription drug prices. Congress can get this done by codifying President Trump's historic Most Favored Nation initiatives into law to guarantee Americans the same low prices for prescription drugs that people in other countries around the world pay. Additionally, by increasing consumer choice by making more verified, safe pharmaceutical drugs available for over-the-counter purchases. Number 2, the Great Healthcare Plan will stop sending big insurance companies billions in extra taxpayer-funded subsidy payments and instead send that money directly to eligible Americans to allow them to buy the health insurance of their choice. Additionally, by funding a cost-sharing reduction program for healthcare plans and ending kickbacks from pharmacy benefit managers to large brokerage middlemen. Number 3, the Great Healthcare Plan will maximize price transparency by requiring any healthcare provider or insurer who accepts either Medicare or Medicaid to publicly and prominently post their pricing and fees to avoid surprise medical bills. This is an incredibly popular policy that has been bipartisan for many years, and President Trump is officially and firmly calling on Congress to get it done. And number 4, holds big insurance companies accountable by requiring them to publish rate and coverage comparisons up front on their websites in plain English so consumers and everyday Americans can make the best purchasing decisions for them and their families. These are common sense actions that make up President Trump's Great Healthcare Plan, and they represent the most comprehensive and bold agenda to lower healthcare costs to have ever been considered by the federal government. Congress should immediately take up President Trump's plan and pass it into law. For Americans watching at home, you can visit greathealthcare.gov right now for more information on the Great Healthcare Plan. And with that, we will open it up to questions. In our new media seat today, we have a familiar face, Riley Gaines. I'm surprised it took us a year to get you here, but I'm very happy to see you. I know you have a new podcast, The Riley Gaines Show. And so thank you. And you brought a beautiful baby and your lovely husband, too. So thank you so much for joining. And why don't you kick us off?
Absolutely. Well, thank you. First and foremost, congratulations to you. Being a girl mom will change your life in the best way possible. So excited you get to shop all the pink and the frilly.
A girl mom. What other come on is there?
I was in Washington, D.C. earlier this week for the Supreme Court case. There were 2 arguments that were heard surrounding.
Look at the disdain on Jackie Heinrich's face in that front row, the 3 of them.
States to pass laws that ultimately protect
These arrogant asshats think they're real reporters.
The Supreme Court rules as anticipated in favor of maintaining these sex-based rights. Is the administration prepared to take action against the states? I believe at this point it's 23 states that don't have those protections for women?
Absolutely. And as you know, Riley, the administration already has done so. We've taken action in a number of fronts against these states who are failing to uphold the president's executive orders and this administration's policy of simply protecting women in women's sports and in women's private spaces. We've gone to the mat with large universities in this country as well to try to fight for what's fair and what's just for women and girls across the country. So I know you were at the arguments. I listened to them myself as a woman and as a former athlete. And I think the president speaks on common sense on this issue, that women's sports and private spaces should be protected, and that there are two genders, there are two sexes. That is not something we should be afraid to say in this country. And I think, frankly, it was quite alarming to not only hear a couple of justices gravel over that basic, fundamental, biological fact, that men and women are different but inherently equal, but we are certainly different, and women deserve such rights. We hope
she's from Fox News, the one in the
Supreme
front.
Court will rule in the right way on this matter. Thank you.
Jackie Heinrich, Fox News.
Very much. A lot to talk about.
Sure. Isn't there always a lot to talk about?
What can you share about the president's meeting with Maria Corina Machado? Is it underway? What can you share about that? And then also, the president said yesterday that Delcy Rodriguez was, quote, a terrific person. Does the president trust the remaining members of the Maduro regime?
I will say, to your first question, the meeting was about to begin as I was stepping out of the Oval Office moments ago, so my understanding is that it's underway right now.
Yeah, but she's a know-it-all, and she doesn't know it all, Catherine Heritage.
Was expecting it to be a good.
She gets a lot of defense things wrong, and that's what her reputation is based on.
Is really a remarkable and brave voice for many of the people of Venezuela. So the president looks forward to obviously talking to her about the realities on the ground in the country and what is taking place. As for Ms. Rodriguez, the president did speak with her directly.
Riley Gaines is there because the Supreme Court case is taking place, and Riley Gaines is a social media influencer, pseudo-journalist. That's why she's there. They reserved that seat in the front for the pretty females that are social media influencers. They said they were opening it up to independent journalists. It was a lie. I applied when she said on the platform. I've never heard from them. All they want is the pretty girls.
That was struck in large part because of the cooperation from Ms. Rodriguez. Venezuela and Ms. Rodriguez have also confirmed that they will be releasing political prisoners from Venezuela. There were 5 Americans who were recently released this week as well. So the president likes what he's seeing and will expect that cooperation to continue.
And regarding the investigation into the leak that the president referenced yesterday, what is the administration's position on the Washington Post reporter? The Post has reported that she was told that she is not a target of the investigation. Does the administration believe she did anything wrong? And then also, what is the administration's position on the Pentagon Papers case from the 1970s that affirmed reporters' right to publish classified information under certain circumstances?
Well, since this is an active investigation, I don't want to comment on it much more than what we did yesterday to obviously confirm the investigation, and I can confirm what the Attorney General stated and the President as well, which is that the individual, unfortunately a contractor at the Pentagon, chose to unlawfully leak classified and very serious information to this Washington Post reporter. Hence why the reporter's home was looked into by the FBI, rightfully so. And the administration is not going to tolerate leaks, especially from within the national security apparatus of the United States government, that put our nation's integrity and our national security at risk. Full stop. The president will not support that. I know the Secretary of War will not support that, and it will not stand. And legal action will be taken against anyone, whether it's a member of the press or whether it's an employee for a federal agency who breaks the law. If you break the law and if you endanger our men and women in uniform, you are going to be held accountable, period, full stop.
But
Jackie.
Does this administration believe that this reporter or any reporter has a right to publish classified information under certain circumstances?
Look, I think that we do not believe that individuals who have been given the privilege of holding a top secret clearance should be illegally leaking that classified information, and I know the American people agree with that. And I think it's a basic tenet of journalistic integrity not to publish information that could directly endanger the operational security or the brave men and women who are serving this country in uniform and putting themselves in harm's way to protect not just the people of this administration, but all of you in the press and all of their fellow Americans as well. Jackie.
Thank you, Caroline. I wanted to get the White House reaction to Iranian state TV broadcasting an implicit threat to the president's life. It was images of the assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania, according to reports, with the message, "This time it will not go wrong."
I have not seen that, to be honest with you, Jackie. We'll take a look, and I'll let the president and his national security team examine that footage to ensure its legitimacy. Again, I haven't seen it, so I can't comment on it. What I will say with respect to Iran is that the president and his team have communicated to the Iranian regime that if the killing continues, there will be grave consequences. And the president received a message, as he revealed to all of you and the whole world yesterday, that the killing and the executions will stop. And the president understands today that 800 executions that were scheduled and supposed to take place yesterday were halted. And so the president and his team are closely monitoring this situation, and all options remain on the table for the president.
Netanyahu encouraged him against strikes.
Look, it's true that President spoke with Prime Minister Netanyahu, but I would never detail details about their conversation without the expressed approval by the president himself. Ouija.
Thank you, Caroline. Is it still the president's assessment that it would be very hard for Ms. Machado to leave Venezuela because he says she lacks the respect and support in that country? And will he raise that with her today?
I think the president's assessment that you just pointed out was based on realities on the ground. It was a realistic assessment based on what the president was reading and hearing from his advisors and national security team. And at this moment in time, his opinion on that matter has not changed.
He has also said that he would like there to be elections in Venezuela when the time is right.
That's right.
Do you have any update on when that might be? And is he committed to a transition to democracy for Venezuela?
Yes, and he is also committed to hopefully seeing elections in Venezuela one day, but I don't have an updated timetable for you today. Reagan in the back.
Thanks, Caroline. I have a question for you on Minnesota and then also Venezuela.
Sure.
President Trump threatened invoking the Insurrection Act today in Truth Social Post. I'm wondering what his tipping point is. Like, what would it take for him to invoke the Insurrection Act?
Look, that's only a question, frankly, Reagan, the president can answer. But the Insurrection Act is a tool at the president's disposal. As you know, it has been used sparingly, but it has been used by previous presidents in American history. And I think the president's Truth Social post spoke very loud and clear to Democrats across this country, elected officials who are using their platforms to encourage violence against federal law enforcement officers, who are encouraging left-wing agitators to unlawfully obstruct legitimate law enforcement operations. And if you talk to any law enforcement officer, no matter what level they work at, they want to be working with their counterparts, whether that's at the federal level or at the federal
Got it, Max. I'll do something after this.
Work with their counterparts at the state and local level. And it's truly shameful that now for more than a year, you've had elected Democrat governors and mayors who have basically held their state and local law enforcement hostage and told them, you cannot cooperate with federal law enforcement. Why? They cooperated under the Biden administration.
Yep.
It's because these Democrats are deranged in their hatred for President Trump.
Yep.
And they are holding their state and local law enforcement hostage as
Yep.
a result. And these Democrat mayors and governors are doing this over what? Over the lawful and legitimate law enforcement operations to remove violent criminals from the streets of Minnesota, from the streets of California, from the streets of New York, and from the streets of every state across this country. And you don't see these riots and this vandalism taking place in states like Florida. Why? Because you have a governor in that state who has empowered federal and local authorities to work together. And it's despicable what we're seeing from these Democrat politicians, especially in sanctuary states and cities across the country.
Spot on.
John.
100%.
Thank you so much. My question is, President Trump has talked twice in recent days, once at the Kennedy Center and then to Reuters again last night, about canceling the election. Why is he talking about this?
I believe you're referring to the president's interview at Reuters last night. I was in that interview. It was a closed-door interview. Obviously, there was not audio or video. The president was simply joking. He was saying, we're doing such a great job. We're doing everything the American people thought. Maybe we should just keep rolling. But he was speaking facetiously.
And then one more.
Sure.
On the labor secretary. She's under investigation. Has he spoken to her about this?
I don't know if the president has spoken directly to the secretary. If they have, I'm unfamiliar with that conversation, but I have spoken to the president about that report regarding the secretary. He's aware of the internal investigation and he stands by the secretary, and he thinks that she's doing a tremendous job at the Department of Labor on behalf of American workers. PBS, go ahead.
You were mentioning a moment ago about working federal, state, local officials in Minneapolis. Governor Walz's office is saying today that he's trying to get a hold directly with the president. Have they spoken? And if they haven't, why haven't they spoken if there's a desire from Walz, as they're saying, to de-escalate what's happening there.
I'm not sure if that's a genuine offer to speak with the president. I was with the president about 30 minutes ago and they hadn't spoken at that point. Look, the president is always willing to answer the phone when people pick up and call. When there was another tragic shooting many months ago in Governor Walz's state, he spoke directly with the governor. But I would ask that the governor stops inciting the harassment and illegal obstruction of law enforcement in his state. All ICE and federal law enforcement are trying to do are remove people like this off of the streets of Governor Walz's city in Minneapolis and of his state in Minnesota. If you look at some of the individuals in this photo, these are all illegal alien criminals who came into our country under the previous administration. This is some of the most disturbing crimes you will ever read about, and there's only a few reporters in this room who will actually talk about these individuals. This is all ICE is trying to do. They are trying to remove people like this from Governor Walz's state. And so yes, he should pick up the phone and he should say that he will cooperate with this president and with the federal government in making Minnesota safer, because that's all President Trump and his administration want to do. Mary.
Thanks, Caroline. The president says he wants money to go directly to Americans so they can buy their own insurance. How exactly would this work? And can the president assure Americans
Just like
this
car
will
insurance.
be enough to cover their health care costs?
So this is the second principle in the president's health care plan, lowering insurance premiums specifically and ensuring that that money is going directly back to the American people and cutting the kickbacks that then raise those premiums. So this plan, once put into legislative text and passed by Congress and sent to the president's desk, will stop sending big insurance companies billions of an extra taxpayer-funded subsidy payments and instead send that money directly to eligible Americans to allow them to buy the health insurance of their choice through, you may have heard it be referred to as health savings accounts. Whether that ends up being the actual name of such accounts, we'll have to see. Again, Congress and the White House are going to work together to put this plan into action. And then secondly, the Great Healthcare Plan will fund a cost-sharing reduction program for healthcare plans, which will save taxpayers at least $36 billion and reduce the most common Obamacare plan premiums by over 10%, and that's according to the Congressional Budget Office.
20 million Americans in recent weeks have seen their health care costs soar. Can he assure them that if this plan is put in place, that they will be able to cover those costs?
If this plan is put in place, every single American who has health care in the United States will see lower costs as a result. They will see...
I won't, but that really isn't germane. And here's the bottom line. Listen how pointed these questions are. None of these questions arose to the Affordable Care Act. None of these questions arose when Nancy Pelosi told the House of Representatives, just sign the bill, vote for the bill, then you can read what's in it. No one cared about affordability then, but listen how demented they are about affordability now of the health care plan.
The president has done with most favored nations. You've seen these big pharmaceutical companies in the Oval Office saying that this president and his team were nonstop around the clock pressuring us and negotiating with us to lower the cost of prescription drugs for Americans. And we are already seeing that to the tune, in some cases, of more than 500.
All right, that's enough. Yeah, that's enough. So they're dementedly attacking Trump on the affordability, whether people can afford to pay for their health care, when they said nothing at all about health care when the Affordable Care Act was put in place. They didn't care about it then. Grady Montasha, what's he doing now? So, well, I didn't see this. This is from the birthday celebration. Let's see what Grady Montasha did. What a pig. He put his dirty lips on that frickin' oh, what a frickin' uncouth pig. Yeah, well, that's tell you all you need to know about that guy. Mr. frickin' Shop right there. My goodness. Unbelievable. Wow. Yeah, that's hard to unsee. Thanks, Trump. Now, Mandy Sullivan's also been afford health care. We'll see. Hey, Angelique, is Jim's subscription covered by Medical Aid in USA? No, it's not. It's not medical aid. It's medical insurance. We don't have aid. It's insurance. You're insuring yourself. Yeah, it is disgusting. Thank you for that, Mad Max. That ruined my lunch. Yep, the tiny human. Alrighty, guys. I hate to eat and go. Haven't eaten, but I hate to run. But it's time to run. I need to make a video about the U.S. Embassy's reaction And then I need to get busy working on a few other things, like this menu for the Veterans Organization. Thank you all for being here. Be sure to hit the like button. And we got pretty cool broadcasts. They got to break 3 stories today, which is pretty cool. All right? All righty. You guys take care. Thanks for the likes. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done it. How are we doing likes? We got 614 likes. Wow, we still got 400 people here. We can hit some more likes than that, right? Night Owls later tonight. Tomorrow we'll have the news, and then we'll have Rugby and Senate later in the evening for the Bulls game. All right? You guys take care. And that was Brandy Wells, by the way, was calling me earlier about another group that wants to participate and take part in my meet and greet. So I'm looking forward to that. So the meet and greet is suddenly becoming quite a big thing, it looks like. Night Owls is on the same time it's on every night. It's 5 a.m. South Africa time, 10 p.m. here. Yep. Thanks. You're very welcome, Charles. You guys have a good night. Be blessed and taken care of here. 630 likes. That's better now. Thanks for the super chat revenue. I think I caught all the super chats. I appreciate that. Hey, Garrett's still here. You all take care, and I'll see you later on. The day just goes by. It's already 1:30 in the afternoon. Time for me to get busy. Should I go get a Frappuccino? Still haven't had one. 2.5 months. Haven't had one. Anyway, all right, you guys take care. I've been saving a lot of money by not buying them. That's for sure. Things are not cheap. Cheers.